sets the final spots in the field for NASCAR's version of the playoffs. Some of NASCAR's biggest stars, part of a group of drivers looking to claim the final place in the chase tonight. Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch would be two of the favorites for that final spot. But Carl Edwards hoping a combination of circumstances, including a win for the 99, would set off an upset, if you will, and Carl would sneak into that last place in the chase. 8 drivers for 2 spots, basically. Casey Kane has the inside track on one of those 2 spots. Everybody else basically racing for 1. And you see where they start throughout the field. Jeff Gordon on the front row. Principal rival on the night, Kyle Busch, is back in 15th position. And hello from Richmond, and thanks for hanging out with us through the rain delay. Alan Bestwick with former Richmond winning driver Dale Jarrett and Richmond winning crew chief Andy Petrie. A lot of talk in the garage and in the grandstand about this race being a free-for-all tonight. How do you see it unfolded?
Well, there's a lot of things that could happen and probably will happen as this race goes on. These drivers are very anxious, but I've seen a lot of nervous drivers throughout this week in talking about the scenarios that would help them to be a part of this chase. And really, that's what each of these drivers, as they set out at Daytona, wanted to be a part of the chase, one of the 12. To get that opportunity is what each and every one of them wanted. Everybody, it really is not going to obviously get there. And as a former driver who's been on that outside looking in, I know the disappointment of not making that happen tonight, so these drivers don't want to feel that.
And there's been a lot of pressure, a ton of pressure on these teams that are on the bubble, try to get in the last few weeks, knowing that time was running out. Tonight, it's desperation mode. They have to get it done tonight, and they really, really want to be in here. It means so much to a race team to be into this chase and have a chance to run for the championship, and being in and versus being out is a tremendous amount of difference.
For a group of the drivers, their only shot to get in is to win tonight. People like Newman and Logano and Ambrose and possibly Paul Menard. For Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon, if none of those one-win drivers scores, they're racing head-to-head basically on points. How do you see it unfolding for them tonight?
Well, I think you're going to see Kyle Busch run good tonight. It's going to be very difficult for Jeff Gordon to outpoint him, I think. He's going to have to beat him by 12 spots. That's going to be hard to do here at Richmond, but he could have an off night, and we've seen Jeff Gordon be on it the last few weeks. Second and third the last 2 weeks. He's on the front row tonight. I like his chances, and Kyle Busch hasn't been really up to par as what we've seen him in the last few weeks, so he might have a chance at it.
You know, this is a 3/4 of a mile short track. Yeah, the speeds are still over 100 miles per hour, but not 180 like we saw last week at Atlanta, where Jeff Gordon has said a number of times this week he wished that he would have done things a little different by getting to Denny Hamlin's rear bumper. That scenario tonight, somebody's going to be in trouble if they're leading, and one of these drivers has to get in by moving them out of the way. They're not going to be afraid to make that happen. This is going to be a very exciting race in a lot of ways.
And all of this conversation about the one place in the chase that's really up for grabs here tonight. Casey Kane, the favorite for one of them, and all the conversation about the one other that's available. And that's within the confines of the 43 cars in the field, all trying to win. Included in that, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Coors Light Pole Award winner for this race, going to lead this field to the green flag. What a win tonight for Jr. would mean to launch him off into that 10-race chase and his bid to become NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series champion. The drivers are buckled in. The command to start engines from Richmond is coming up next. A live look at the Richmond International Raceway. The jet dryers, you see the flashing lights along the front straightaway, finishing up the track drying work. And momentarily, the field of 43 will be fired up and roll onto this racetrack for tonight's 400-lap race. Track conditions, air temperature conditions, very different than from when these teams were last on this speedway yesterday.
Yeah, it was going to be different anyway because it's a night race, but with all this rain and the jet blowers blowing all the rubber off the racetrack, it's going to be quite different. So I'm sure that a lot of teams are going to be scrambling when this race starts.
Yeah, we're going to have a competition yellow here, and the drivers are going to have to give a lot of information so they can make some changes to the race car that I know they're going to be looking to do.
First lap driving off into turn one for these drivers, a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, as if it wasn't going to be exciting enough as it is, it definitely is an adventure now.
All right, well, we'll see how it all plays out in these opening laps and over the course of 400 laps on this tough 3/4 mile racetrack. After a rain delay, approaching some 90 minutes. Time to hear those famous words and get it started.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Vice President Wholesale Distribution for Federated Mogul Corporation, Roy Kent, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of the many Federated distributors, gentlemen, start your engines.
Yeah, copy, Jimmy. Yeah, I got you. When you start driving out.
Been a lot of talk about how this night might play out. Now we find out. A little racing reality show coming up in Richmond, Virginia. Tonight's ESPN in-race reporters, a hometown favorite. Denny Hamlin is from Chesterfield. For a race driver, there is nothing better than winning at your hometown track, and Denny Hamlin has done that 2 of the last 3 years in this September night race at Richmond International Raceway. 2009, 2010, Hamlin went to victory lane. He and the rest of the drivers rolling out onto the racetrack now to begin parade and pace laps here at Richmond International Raceway. And Quicken Loans breaks down how Denny Hamlin is amazing here. I'd say 9 top 10s in 13 tries. That's pretty amazing at any racetrack. And Hamlin again, winner of this race 2 of the last 3 years. He's our ESPN in-race reporter for the night, Dale.
Hey, Denny, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You with us?
10-4, I got you, Dale.
Hey, Denny, we know that you're on an amazing run here as you close out the regular season, and this race obviously attracting a lot of attention, not only in the United States, but around the world. And our mailbag question actually comes from one of our servicemen, Jay, who is over in Bahrain and on the USS Pioneer. And he asked, do you use this race to try out some new setups, equipment, or strategies since you are already locked into the chase, or are you going out there for the win?
Well, first of all, thank Jake for everything he does for our country. It definitely means a lot. You know, there's a lot of people that watch these races from across seas every week, and we appreciate that. But it's a little bit of both for us tonight. We are trying a complete different setup here at this track than what we've really always run. This is more of a New Hampshire style setup that Darian's put together for us. And you know, we knew what we had with our old setup, and now we're just trying. So basically, Darian is masterminded another setup for us, and it's a lot like our New Hampshire setup. And so hopefully, it'll produce some good results. It's going to be a lot different package than what the 1820 had tonight, but really a win or nothing for us.
Hey, Denny, you're talking about that, and your success has put you in a very good position here. You do have 2 teammates who have an opportunity to make this chase with you. By being in the position you're in, do you pay attention at all and want to know what's going on with them throughout this race tonight?
Well, I've got a pretty good idea what needs to happen, what can happen. So really, hopefully I'll be towards the front in a safe spot, but I'll constantly keep it, one eye in the mirror looking for our teammates, or looking out the windshield for our teammates, to make sure we do the best we can for them.
All right, Danny, well, thanks for talking with us tonight. We'll watch your progress here throughout this. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Darian Grubb.
Hey, Darian Grubb, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Yeah, Darian, I was going to ask you about these 2 drivers that you've worked with here, 2 great talents, especially here at Richmond. Do they look for the same kind of feel out of the race car, or is it something different that you have to give them? I know it sounds like you're trying something new tonight.
Yeah, it's really a unique racetrack, and I think a lot of the drivers are looking for the same thing. It's really tough to get into the corners, still be able to rotate through the center, and keep your forward drive off. So everybody's looking for the same thing, and hopefully this is going to be a new step towards finding something new that'll make it a little faster around here for Denny. But the FedEx Toyota team's done a great job this week, fast in practice. So really looking forward to going out here and having a good show tonight.
Well, we're getting a late start. It looks like the track's going to be a little different. I know we were counting on a cool racetrack, but not with all this rain. And what do you think we're going to have to encounter here for changes? How's the track going to be to start with?
I think right here to start, everybody's going to be a hero because there's going to be a lot of grip. Everybody's car is going to be really good. So just hope we can go out there and have a nice clean start and get some laps under our belt.
Okay, Darian. Good luck tonight. Thanks for talking to us, man.
Thank you.
As you see on the racetrack, the cars all still single file and working the very top line of the racetrack, trying to get the last of the moisture dried up out of that place on the pavement, while the jet dryers are on the pit lane, trying to make sure that is safe for the beginning of competition. Got some great high-definition onboard views for you tonight to help your enjoyment of the race. Casey Kane trying to lock up a wild card spot or a place in the top 10 as our sprint on board. And our in-race reporter, Denny Hamlin, also carrying a sprint on-board camera. Tony Stewart trying to finish 10th in points, has got the Coca-Cola on board, and Clint Boyer has got the 5-hour energy camera.
Proud of all you guys, what you accomplished so far this year. We ain't to the destination, but we're looking pretty good getting there. So thank you guys, all of you guys.
Also carrying cameras tonight, Kyle Busch has got the Toyota on board. Jeff Gordon with a Goodyear camera. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting on the pole with our Chevrolet on board. And Carl Edwards with the Ford EcoBoost camera.
Stewart, which fans would you like on?
Left front, right front, up, radiator up, orange up.
Step forward, just like practice.
Making sure all the switches are set in the correct positions. NASCAR has just told all of the drivers and teams that the next time by, they're going to go green-yellow. Actually, this time by, the green flag is waving now. So the laps are counting in this race beginning right now, headed toward 400. They'll run some laps behind the pace car to try and make sure that the surface is finished being dried, and then they'll double them up and fully let them loose.
Yeah, and that's whenever we will decide when the competition yellow will come out. It's going to be 40 laps from whenever we start green flag racing, actual racing.
Yeah, see, the jet drivers have a little bit of a problem getting right up next to that wall. And that's why they put the cars out here to use the heat off the headers and all that, just to try to get that outside, that very far outside lane dried up. They won't be running this high, I promise you, especially early.
Not unless you're in a lot of trouble. And our race telecast tonight available in Spanish. Brought to you by ESPN Deportes. While they work this green-yellow condition, let's check in down on pit road. Here's Vince Welch.
Alan, we've talked a lot about the fact that Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch are battling for a spot in the chase. They're also in very close proximity on pit lane. In fact, only one pit box will separate the two. The 24 crew chief, Alan Gustafson, says he's not worried about the 18 at all. He's focused only on his own team and own car. But Kyle Busch's crew chief, Dave Rogers, pointed out he has a little uneasiness about a Hendrick-affiliated 51 car being just ahead of him. One thing the two do agree on, making the chase or missing the chase could be determined by what happens on pit road. Dr. Punch?
And after almost winning the championship a year ago, Carl Edwards has had abysmal luck here in 2012. You know, he lost his service as a veteran crew chief, Bob Osborne, at midseason. And here in the spring, he dominated this race, only to have a late race penalty take victory away from him. Tonight, Carl Edwards has to win this race and hope that others have some bad luck. That's the only way he gets in the chase. Pretty much sums up his year. What a difference a year makes for Carl Edwards. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. They are going to run about 5 more laps under the green and yellow, then double them up and turn them loose. We'll come back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. After a day where terrible weather has plagued the entire East Coast, including Virginia's capital city, we are ready to race at the Richmond International Raceway. The pace car will head off this time the remainder of 400 laps, 394 to be specific, to determine who wins tonight's race, the seeding for the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, and who gets the final positions in that group to run for the championship. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon bring the field to the green. Point for Jeff Gordon for leading a lap.
Well, I'll give him credit. He really had a lot of trust that there was grip in that second lane. He drove it off down into turn 1.
Yeah, don't think for a second Junior gave it to him either. He was on the gas hard trying to get the lead on the go.
Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Clint Boyer, first 3 on the break. 4th place on back, 78 Regan Smith with a lot of company. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Martin Truex Jr. in the 56, Jimmy Johnson in the 48. And for the lead, Earnhardt Jr. out in front. Denny Hamlin by Regan Smith. That'll be for 4th place. And for 2nd, Clint Boyer to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Boyer in the 15. Kyle Busch trying to make his way forward from his 15th starting spot.
Yeah, the track has a ton of grip in it right now. He's running close to qualifying speeds these first few laps.
18 car trying to get the 11th spot from Mark Martin. Check that, the 10th spot from Mark Martin. Mark in the 55.
I'd have to say right now, if the drivers are finding something that's totally different, having that grip that you're talking about, Andy, makes the front stick, they're probably going to be talking about their cars being loose as Denny Hamlin takes the 3rd spot from Jeff Gordon.
Well, if that's a new setup on that 11 car tonight, I know that's still early for a decision on it, but in the early laps it's looked good.
There's not been many setups that Denny Hamlin hasn't made look good here, though.
Got a point.
And this racetrack will go through a change, so it'll be interesting to see will that affect what he's doing. His race car is awfully good right now. We know how good he is here, and boy, would he love to take 3 wins into the chase, 3 straight wins. Truex Jr. by Regan Smith.
Now Jimmy Johnson is going to pick up a spot. That'll put Johnson to 6th and Smith back to 7th. Sam Hornish Jr. in the 22 is on his back bumper now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is hoping this track doesn't change any. He is flying right now.
Ryan Newman, one of the guys who simply must win tonight to have a shot at racing for the championship, and it looks like he's got his hands full. He really had his hands full there. His little contact with Greg Biffle.
Got away with it. It was close.
Newman right now is running in 18th position. And again, his only chance to make the championship is to get up front and win this race. 22 Sam Hornish Jr. and 29 Kevin Harvick.
We've seen a resurgence with this 29 team with Kevin Harvick the last few weeks. Ran extremely well, led a lot of laps last week in Atlanta. Kind of getting hot for the right time. They have themselves locked into the chase.
Hasn't won yet this year. Won the NASCAR Nationwide Series race last night, and part of the benefit of doing double duty at one of these races is experimentation and knowledge to be gained on things like tires and how the particular tire that's been brought to a race weekend performs under race conditions.
Yeah, there's a few things like that you can carry over, tire pressures and things like that. A lot of the setup stuff, though, is quite different, although the characteristics of the track really don't change.
Truex picked up a spot, and here's Kyle Busch working for 9th place on Kevin Harvick.
We talk about how good his teammate Denny Hamlin is at this racetrack, but there's really nobody that's been better as far as an average finish than Kyle Busch. 4.7 at this racetrack in his races. And Jeff Gordon can't see that competition yellow come quick enough. He needs to do some work on that 24 car if he's going to try to win.
Just gave up 5th place. Early update on Jeff Gordon from Vince.
Well, you talk about the thought that this track would have grip in it early on, but Gordon has none of it. He is way too loose on entry and exit and a little too tight in the center. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson says they'll get him fixed up at the first stop.
So remember, if none of the one-win drivers wins the race, then that last wild card spot could come down to points. And Kyle Busch had a lead on Jeff Gordon starting the night. Jeff would have to outrun Kyle under those circumstances by 13 positions on the track, basically. And right now, Gordon's going backwards, and Kyle is moving forward toward him.
I think Harvick's giving him a fit right now, though. He's trying to get that upper lane working.
I've been trying to watch some other cars and see if they could make this second lane work. We didn't really see it happen where you could carry any speed last night in the nationwide race. Kevin Harvick is not giving up here on the high side. And I think with the more horsepower these cars have, that it's going to be a lane that's going to be needed before this night's over.
Role was kind of reversed last night. Ricky Stenhouse was running that high lane like that, and Harvick had to work many, many laps on the bottom to try to get by him. Maybe that's when Harvick realized there was some grip up there. That'll be frustrating, though, to be the guy on the inside and can't, you know, you got a little bit better car.
Yeah,
not be able to make it.
Yeah, but you have to be careful, especially the entries to these corners, both getting down into turn 1, the high-speed part of this racetrack, and down into 3. These cars will get extremely loose because you are having speeds up over 140 miles per hour.
Tony Stewart says this Richmond layout is the perfect layout for Sprint Cup cars. Designed and built by the legendary track promoter Paul Sawyer between a race in the spring of 1988 and the September of 1988 race weekend. They knocked down the old fairgrounds half mile, built this 3/4 mile layout that's been a hit with the drivers and the fans right from that very first race.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with Tony more. As you see Kyle Busch finally able to make this pass. He really needed to do that. You were talking about the frustration. And the other thing is seeing these other cars start closing in on you. You had some gap, and here they have caught up to you.
Kasey Kahne has been on the move since the start of this race. He's picked up 10 positions from the 21st spot on the grid, and now he's working on Kevin Harvick for another.
Yeah, he's got one of the fastest cars on the track. He's been dealing with traffic, and watch his lap times. He's as fast as the leaders while he's doing it.
And remember, championship picture, what's at stake for Kahne tonight? If he can move past Tony Stewart in points into the top 10, then the bonus points for the 2 wins he's gotten already this season will be his for the reseeding for the championship. If you're one of the wild cards, you don't get those bonus points. Change for second. Denny Hamlin marching.
Yeah, he's been inching his way closer to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Just made that pass on Boyer. You look from that shot right there, just how stable the back end of that 11 car is off the corner. That's key here.
Yeah, that's what Denny Hamlin does so good. He carries that momentum, and he's so good with the throttle up off the corner that he keeps the rear tires on his car really good by not spinning them, where a lot of other drivers are trying to get too much out of it, spinning the tires. But Denny's able to have speed, yet take care of his tires.
Another change there. Harvick slipping another spot back. Matt Kenseth moving around him, and Kenseth up to 11th. 17 car. Mark Martin, 55. Jeff Burton, 31, also in the mix here in this particular group in traffic. Another 15 laps away from what will be a competition caution if we don't see the yellow before then, to allow the teams to make a pit stop, check the tire wear, and tune up these race cars. Auto Parts 400, early going after a near 90-minute delay for inclement weather. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has done almost all of the leading so far. Which driver do you think will be first among the top 4 qualifiers for this race to finish? Text FAST to 34763 or go to attfastestdriver.com to play. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in the AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. Every week you'll have a chance to make your pick and see where you stack up against the rest. Jeff Gordon led 2 laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s led the rest. But company's coming in the form of Denny Hamlin. The leaders in lap traffic. Hamlin's closing in.
Yeah, he is closing in, but been a very impressive start to this race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Watch how smooth Denny Hamlin is around this racetrack. I mean, we've seen other drivers around here really fighting the wheel. He just gets his car where he can arc it in the corner, let the car roll, back in the throttle, drives it straighter up off, and that's how you take care of your tires around here.
You can hear how smooth he gets out of the throttle, get down into 1. Yeah, he goes back to the throttle a little bit, then full. Modulation just a little bit coming off of there to keep from spinning the tires.
Top speed's well over 100 mile an hour at the end of these straightaways on this 3/4 mile track. Tony Stewart, remember 10th in the championship standings starting the night. Did not have a very good Friday of practice and did not qualify well. Started in 28th position. And with Tony not really moving up much and Kasey Kahne charging forward, that race for the 10th position in points is a tight one. Just a couple of spots. Remember, 1 point per position. Just a couple of spots separate Kasey Kahne from taking over 10th in points from Tony Stewart.
I'll tell you something. Kasey Kahne's got a fast race car tonight. It's going to be tough on Tony. This is going to be making it really tough on him to try to stay in the top 10 tonight. Kasey might have a winning race car.
Very early. A lot of time left in this race. A lot of things can change, but in the early going, Tony isn't moving forward, and Kasey is a lot.
And the big thing with being able to do that, as we've talked about, those wins are worth 3 points each. So bonus points is what you get, but you can only use those if you're in the top 10. The wild card, you don't have that. So that's the big difference. If Casey Kane couldn't win this race tonight, get inside the top 10, then he's going to only be 3 points behind Denny Hamlin starting next week.
Yeah, be one of the top seeds to begin the championship. And if he doesn't win or get past Tony Stewart for 10th in points, he'll be one of the bottom seeds beginning the chase. In lap traffic still, as we close in on the competition caution, once all the lead lap cars cross the start-finish line this time, we should see NASCAR call for the caution flag. And there it is.
Back or now.
So second yellow flag of the race. Just joining us, the race started under a green-yellow condition to finish the track drying and went green after 6 laps of caution had been run. And on a racetrack that changes naturally over the course of a race with the rapidly changing weather and track conditions over the last few hours, these crew chiefs and pit crews are going to have a lot of work to do tonight.
They're interrogating the drivers right now as they come down for this first pit stop to see just what kind of changes that they need.
Anticipate any 2-tire stops here, Andy?
4,400 at
Yeah, it could be, because this is one of those shorter runs that they'll see tonight.
35 cars on the lead lap.
I like
as
4 tires, though.
They hit pit road for the first time, Shannon.
Casey Kane, one of those wild card drivers, started 28th, is now running 6th on the track, tight center, loose off, air pressure, and a chassis adjustment. Vince?
Kyle Busch, middle of your screen, good in 1 and 2, but tight in the center of 3 and 4. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment. Jeff Gordon, 4 tires, track bar adjustment, and a rubber in the left rear. Way too loose, in and off. Let's go to Dave.
Loose off the corner for your leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's already been a track bar adjustment made, little air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, and he's cleanly off pit road.
Good stop for the 88 team. And a nice job by Kyle Busch's team to grab him a little track position on the pit lane.
Yeah, and you don't see the 24 showing up on there. They were a little bit slow. I don't know if it was all the adjustments they were making, but lost some spots.
So because there was no spin or any debris to be cleaned up, this will be a fairly brief caution. Another lap or so while the cars that are not on the lead lap have a chance to pit. And then they'll double them up and we'll go back racing. Follow up on what happened with that 24 pit stop, Vince.
Yeah, it wasn't a slow stop. It was just the fact that they made so many adjustments on that initial stop because Jeff was so unhappy with the race car. Alec Gustafson didn't want to waste any time or any opportunity. He wanted to get right after it. So as mentioned, they put a rubber in the left rear with a couple of rounds on the track bar and that 4-tire change as well. Jeff hoping that he has a better car here to do something with. In and off were the key areas of concern for Gordon and just plowing the center, he said.
Yeah, they're making changes with the wedge wrench on the right side. Taking a spring rubber, looks like taking it out of the left rear and putting one in. That's what takes a lot of time is messing with the spring rubbers, but you see they have a little bit of trouble in the left front also.
Jeff Gordon came down pit road in 7th position.
You see they took a lot longer, almost a little over 5 seconds longer on that pit stop than did Gordon or Earnhardt's team. They're hoping that's going to pay off, though, and it's going to have a better race car.
Well, you got to have that. Wasn't doing any good in the way that it was, and this is the time to make those changes. And he came back out to be running 17th now.
So field doubled up for the restart. It'll be Dale Earnhardt Jr. choosing the inside lane. He'll have Denny Hamlin to his outside. And Boyer, Truex, Johnson, Casey Kane all the way up to 6th. Kyle Busch in 7th. Tony Stewart after the pit stop still back in 23rd place. Oh, got one spinning down the front straightaway.
Behind you, we're going to get a caution. It's out. Back her now.
David Reagan, caution's out.
Got some flat tires, but it looks like no other damage.
All right, you're okay. You got a flat right front right now. Get him fired up here. Gotta go. Gotta go. The leader's coming. Leader's coming. You got a flat right front.
David was running in 28th place when he got turned out of that traffic, and obviously he's got some damage and some troubles there that his team will have to fix up. Tough break there for David. His teammate, David Gilliland, gets the free pass. First car one lap down at the caution flag. He gets to come back around on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek got the free pass at the competition caution. Don't expect to see any of the front runners on the pit lane, and you see they are bypassing the opening to pit road. So we'll take a break. Come back for the restart in just a minute. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has done most of the leading so far tonight here in Richmond. Ready for the restart after the already third caution of this race. David Reagan spun, a little help from Travis Kvapil in a traffic jam, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. with again Denny Hamlin to his outside coming to the green. Started to say after the last restart about a lap in when things settled out, and then was cut off when David Reagan spun. Keep an eye out tonight and see if a trend develops inside lane, outside lane on restarts. If you were with us the last couple of weeks at Bristol and Atlanta, there was a distinct disadvantage to one lane or the other on the restarts. If it comes down to a late caution, which lane you wind up in by how you come off the pit lane could play a role in where you finish.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing the inside here right now. We could see this outside lane come into play later on. Matt Kenseth was way high down in 1 and 2. He's needing some outside lane to come in. But Junior been really strong, but here comes Denny Hamlin now.
Wow. Junior just didn't get through 3 and 4 well at all. And Denny Hamlin goes to the front. Jimmy Johnson, 48, under Martin Truex Jr. for 4th place. Talking about people who already have places locked in the chase and what's at stake tonight. Johnson would like nothing better than to get a win, get those 3 bonus points, and be tied for the lead beginning the chase with Denny Hamlin, then to be trailing Hamlin by 3 or maybe 6 points if Denny were to win. Carl Edwards up to the 11th spot, Doc.
And Carl's plan was to be patient for the first half of the race and then try to win it in the second half and try somehow to get in the chase. But they have just told Carl on the radio that they believe weather is about an hour out. So you got to go now, Carl. You got to go. We may get to halfway and not beyond. But now Carl has lit the fire and is on the move.
Remember that by rule in NASCAR racing, if the race is completed half its advertised distance and circumstances don't allow it to be continued, those circumstances including weather, then the race could be called official. And there you see the weather radar with that blob of weather to the south and west of Richmond heading right toward us.
A little contact between Greg Biffle and Kyle Busch down in turns 1 and 2. They still battle for that spot, but Biffle had Mr. Busch sideways.
Jeff Gordon back in 19th position and has not gone forward any after that last pit stop. Vince?
Well, and maybe a bigger concern right now, Alan, is some oil temperature issues that Jeff is talking with crew chief Alan Gustafson about. A temperature up to 300 degrees, and certainly some concern in the voice of Gordon and the crew chief.
Got an oil temp issue, 300. Central.
Yeah, that's the upper limit, which you don't want to see it any higher than that. You don't see any debris on the grill.
One of the things that has plagued this team in these first 25 races are just things that have happened, and they have run better than what they're showing here tonight, but it seems like something's always happening.
And Jeff Gordon finds himself here on this last night, the 26th night of the season, trying to race his way into the chase. Even just think back over the last month. Watkins Glen racing for a spot in the top 10 in the last corner of the race, and spins out and loses a chunk of points in the engine failure at Michigan. It might have been for Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, we can always say that. Here's Tony Stewart. We talked about him starting back, trying to make his way forward now. Tony was actually kind of optimistic, and we heard him talking right before the race started, but I heard from his people that he really felt good about his car after he would run 10, 12, maybe 15 laps, but he's kind of showing that here as he's moving forward.
Update on Tony Stewart from Shannon.
Yeah, Dale, one of the reasons for that optimism is because this is the same exact car that Tony Stewart had here in April, and the car had very similar characteristics in practice back then that it did this weekend. The car back then took about 15 laps to come to them, but they were completely caught off guard in practice. Tony Stewart, pretty early into that first run, he came over the radio and said he was still tight through and loose off, but he did say he felt that the car would come to them. So that's a little bit of good news for the 14 fans.
One thing I like about Tony is he can adapt to the conditions of the racetrack, and he can kind of drive the car a little different, then call for some changes that might help him. I just think he's one of the most adaptive race car drivers, probably because of all the different things he's driven.
Yeah, we heard Alan say earlier that he talked about this was his favorite racetrack. He thought this was the perfect track. And when you have that as a driver, you can overcome a lot of things that your race car's not that good because you do enjoy it so much.
KFC fresh off the wire. Tony Stewart running in 19th. Casey Kane running in 10th. Kyle Busch running in 9th. Remember that 10th position in the chase, and the bonus points for those wins at stake tonight for Stewart and Kane.
This run was way better for Tony Stewart than the first run, and then Casey Kane is probably not as good as he was the first run.
Denny Hamlin out in front, having passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. just a little bit ago after Jr. led most of the opening 58 laps of this race. Dave?
Alan, I mentioned that his car was loose off the corner. They made a track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment for that, but they were small adjustments, and Junior described the car after that little short run before David Reagan was spun as the car is turning too sharp. So Steve interpreted that as it's still too loose. He said, keep the tires under it, did the crew chief, and we'll give you a bigger adjustment next time. Vince?
And as far as the 11 is concerned of Denny Hamlin, he says it's just a little bit too free on exit, but otherwise it's pretty good. This team was very optimistic about this race tonight. Crew Chief Darren Grubb telling me, we feel like we've got a top 5 car and wouldn't have to work on it too much to make it a winner. They're off to a good start.
Yes, they are.
I liked what Junior did there. The car was just a little bit loose and said, take care of the tires. Well, he let Denny Hamlin go. And now, after he's kind of settled in, he's been actually faster than Denny on quite a few laps, so it might be coming back to him.
Yeah, they haven't gotten through the complete change here. They're probably right on the edge that this racetrack's not going to change a whole lot from this point, so they might be seeing something a little different than they did with the adjustments they made after that first run.
Well, Denny Hamlin has won this race 2 of the last 3 years. He's won the last 2 straight weeks in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, going for 3. We're back after this message with word from our ABC stations. The race for the lead at Richmond International Raceway after 82 of 400 laps. Denny Hamlin 11 leading Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. They've opened up about a second and a half on third place, Clint Boyer. The fastest stats brought to you live all race long by the new Sprint Direct Connect, a part of the fastest push-to-talk experience. Upgrade to the new Done. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fastest of the pack. He's led most of the laps tonight. And he also has the fastest speed in the race today for a lap time. The fastest stats brought to you by the new Sprint Direct Connect. Upgrade to the new Done. Find out more at sprint.com/speed and get done. Junior dropped back behind Denny Hamlin to maybe save his tires with his car's handling condition not ideal, but he's going right back after him now.
Passed him easily. Yeah, kind of a steady progression there. Junior looks like his car is really, really good. It takes off good too, but I think maybe it was a little bit on the free side there at first. He let Hamlin go, and now it's coming back to him.
Or maybe Hamlin's car is starting to slide around a little bit more.
Like Dale said earlier, this track probably still going through a little bit of a change, and they're going to probably need a good adjustment here at this next stop.
It's about 25 laps that Hamlin led Junior before he went back by. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. Denny Hamlin there in 11 is running second as they put Joe Nemechek in the 87 a lap down. There's the gap to third place Clint Boyer in the 15, who also has a few car lengths on Jimmy Johnson in the 48, who runs in fourth position. And you've got Martin Truex Jr. in fifth, 56 car, just ahead of Kevin Harvick, 29. Harvick up to sixth. Sam Hornish Jr. is running in seventh position in the Penske 22. And Kyle Busch running in eighth position as we update some of those competing for those final places in the chase with our Nationwide Insurance up to speed. Vince?
Well, and Kyle Busch came into this race 12th in points. If he wins, he's in. We got a long way to go, but the one thing about Kyle and his race car right now, they're more in tune with one another. He says the car is better and he can really feel the tires on this run. That's good news for 18 fans. Shannon?
Casey Kane very fast on that first run, but after that pit stop, he sort of leveled off a bit. He said the changes that they made hurt his turn through the center. He's also having some radio issues. Listen.
I don't really understand it, Kevin. I don't know why. I got my radio cranked up. All right, Pitbull, I'll work on another topic here. Pitbull. Yeah, I don't think it's your radio, Kevin. I think it's just my earplug or something. It's hard to hear Katie, too.
Now the plan is to go back on the adjustments they made on the first pit stop when they come down pit road the next time. Doc?
And back behind him is Carl Evers. And once they told Carl you need to hustle because weather's on the way, Carl got to 11th and couldn't go any further. He said, you know what, guys? I'm still loose in and I cannot turn the middle. He says, you can fix the turning in the middle. I can pick them up. I can get there. We're going to take air pressure out of the right front on the next stop. How about Jeff Gordon, Vince?
Well, Jeff was really fighting loose in and loose off during that first run. They've helped him a little bit, especially in the center and on entry, but right now Jeff still doesn't have the drive off. He wants crew chief Alan Gustafson assuring him that they're going to get him taken care of at the next stop. Shannon?
Well, Tony Stewart is locked into the chase by at least a wild card, but if he drops out in the top 10, he will lose the bonus points. They struggled in practice yesterday. The car right now, he is slowly making his way through the field, despite the fact that he says tight center, loose off. You see he started 28th, and currently he is running 16th on the racetrack. Alan.
All right, Shannon, so an update on some of those in contention for those wild card spots as that lead changes hands again.
Sometimes you can get back behind the car. We heard Denny Hamlin talk about his car being a little bit loose, so you get behind the car, takes a little bit of air off of that nose, you can tighten it back up. Makes you a little bit better. He was complaining a little bit too of his drive off, so
that could be working. That could be working both ways. I mean, Junior could have done the same thing earlier. This might take a little pressure off of his loose condition if he's got one.
David Gilliland going a lap down in the 38 car.
Like I say, most of the time you're looking for that downforce on the nose, especially with these higher speed tracks, but here you're really looking for rear grip. And if your car is just borderline being loose, you can get behind another car and tighten the car up.
So watching the race for the lead, watching the chase picture, watching the weather radar. We'll see how it all mixes together as we go through the evening here in Richmond.
101 laps complete at Richmond International Raceway. The 5-hour energy rapid recap is going to help us get caught up on what has happened so far. One of the guys who needs a win, Jeff Gordon in the 24, took the lead early. In fact, on the start, but it's fallen back since.
Yeah, he sure has, Nicole. And it looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually gave Jeff Gordon the lead to let him get 1 point right there, which a real critical move on as good as the teammates. But Jeff has been really falling back. That 24 car is not handling real good.
Kyle Busch.
Kyle's done a great job. Put himself in position inside of that top 10. We saw him advance through the field, so we know he's got a good, strong race car. He's just making laps right now.
Tony Stewart is a guaranteed lock in the chase, courtesy of his wins earlier this season. But where he slots in the field, that's the question, and so far he's struggling.
Well, you heard him say that he had a decent car, and he's actually moved up more spots than anybody else. I think his car is comfortable. He's been running some decent lap times. Looks like he's got a top 10 car, just hasn't had the track position.
You know who was really fast during the first stint? The 5 of Casey Kane. He steadied off a little bit, but right now he's running 9th.
Oh, yeah, he was just flat flying. I mean, so much faster than anybody in the field. But after that first pit stop, Nicole, they made some changes and fell back a little bit, running 9th, as you said.
Denny Hamlin is currently out front. We've seen him and Dale Earnhardt Jr. swap leads a few times. They have a slight advantage. Little few spots back, you'll find the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Now, if you were with us earlier, we got off to a bit of a late start. Mother Nature delayed us by about 90 minutes, and she is still around.
Nice job, bud. Just update on the weather. We've got it all around us. Should really probably be raining right now. Cool.
So Jimmy Johnson's in 4th and back in 7th. How about it? We've been saying it for a few weeks now, Brad. Sam Cornish Jr.
Doing an excellent job right now. He's got a fast race car, obviously. Can get to the bottom of the racetrack. He's riding around the bottom of the racetrack, really strong up in that top 10. Hope Sam can keep it there, get a strong finish for tonight.
Back a few more spots. We talked about him earlier. Jeff Gordon in 18th. He started 2nd, Rusty.
I tell you, he is really struggling. Let's see what he's got to say here.
We made my entry better. I'm starting to get real tight in the center. My exit is terrible. Yeah, we're gonna fix your exit. We got a plan to get you just the same balance the wedges at 48. He's running 4th. Yeah, I'm just wearing the brakes out, trying to get this thing to turn. Except for it's nice and smooth. Hang on here. You're doing great. We're gonna get it fixed.
Okay, crew chief, what do you do?
That's a tough spot to be in because he's reacting to several different things. He's talking about having brake issues. He's talking about being loose. He's talking about being tight. You've got to get the car to roll the center of the corner so he can drive straighter off. He's not been able to get to the accelerator all night. The back of that car has not been hooked up, but now he's tight in the center of the corner, and that just aggravates the situation because you turn the steering wheel further, you try to get on the gas, and the car wants to spin out.
And just to give you an idea, when he says the car is loose, Jeff Gordon's not kidding. Taking us along for a bit of a ride. Check this out. Ooh, boy.
Ooh, turning right's not good. Whoa,
110
man.
laps complete in Richmond. We'll have more when we come back.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Federated Auto Parts 400 from the Richmond International Raceway. Reminding you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. In the middle of a long stretch of green flag racing now. And Denny Hamlin, the leader, beginning to put some cars a lap down. He just passed Marcos Ambrose, one of the wild card hopefuls. He's just passed Landon Castle in the 83, and now working on another of the wild card hopefuls, Joey Logano, in the 20. 20 car qualified pretty well, Dave, but it's not going so well in the race.
It really has not been for Joey Logano as he gets put a lap down. His crew chief asked him about 10 laps ago, what do we need to do? Where do we need to work on the car? And he said everywhere. The car is loose or off. The center is still tight. He has no forward drive. So Joey's hopes at somehow getting into the chase really have gone down the drain so far in the early laps.
A lot of time left. The free pass rules and the wave around rules and all that. There's always the hope from getting back from a lap or two down. But it's not looking good early for guys like Logano and Ambrose. So it's Denny Hamlin leading, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 2nd, and Clint Boyer running in 3rd position.
Who's that coming behind Jimmy? No one right now. Black car. Just past him. better look out front. It's a lap car. Focus out front.
Trying to figure out if somebody's doing anything different. Okay.
I'll let you know.
You, as a driver, you want to know. I mean, you're trying to keep up with what's going on, and that's some information they could have given him that, hey, the 33 had been in the pits, got some fresh tires, was running fast for a few laps, and that's all Clint wanted to know.
Stephen Light driving that car, and yeah, fresh tires versus ones that have been out there for 50 laps will be a whole lot faster.
Yeah, but here's a car that's 2 seconds behind Clint, and he's looking at the car behind him. He's not looking out the windshield. I kind of sympathize a little bit with Brian Patty on that one.
Good race for 6th place here. 22 Hornish, 29 Harvick, 5 Kane. Been kind of an interesting week for news in NASCAR. On Tuesday, Joe Gibbs Racing announced that Matt Kenseth would officially join them and drive the 20 car in place of Joey Logano. Same day, Penske Racing announces that Joey Logano will drive this 22 car next season. Sam Hornish had hopes of landing that ride for next year, but that is not going to be the case.
I'll tell you what, though, Sam Hornish has really proven that he's got what it takes. He's been very, very solid in this car. Put in here in kind of an awkward situation, and it done just a great job. I mean, here tonight, a very tough racetrack, running the top 10, just solid as can be.
Side by side, Harvick and Kane, 7th and 8th. Kane trying to move forward again. This car showing some muscle in a couple of the longer runs that we've had in the race so far, that it's a good long haul piece.
Yeah, apparently they made an adjustment that they're going to plan on going back on that didn't really suit Casey to get going, but it looks like that maybe the car was just a little too loose. Now it's starting to come to him a little bit, moving back forward once again up to that 7th spot now.
And someone who's really begun to move in this segment of the race.
He's really got it going right now. Stewart, they made a good adjustment on this car. And I mean, Stewart was pretty optimistic he was going to be good anyway. Man, he's already driven up to 11th place, and he's looking for more.
Started back in 28th position for Tony. The fastest stats brought to you live all race long by the new Sprint Direct Connect, part of the fastest push-to-talk experience. Upgrade to the new Don Stewart, the fastest mover in the race. And I bet not done yet at those plus 17 spots. The fastest stats brought to you by the new Sprint Direct Connect. Upgrade to the new Done. Find out more at sprint.com/speed and get done.
If Tony had his Sprint phone right now, he'd tell these boys he's coming. Takes another spot there from Martin.
Tony restarted 23rd at lap 57. He just took 10th place from Mark.
Yeah, what makes this so impressive is he's not only having to pass these cars for position, but he's encountering the same lap cars that they are too. So he's having to make a lot of passes and on his way towards the front.
There's Jeff Gordon down a lap. Man, this has been a tough day for him so far.
Started on the front row.
They made a ton of adjustments on that car the last pit stop, but boy, it is just not working at all. I think they went probably the wrong way.
Bad. We got a plan to fix it.
Vince?
Yeah, they are really frustrated with this race car right now. They made a big swing at it on that first pit stop, and they just haven't made it any better right now. And we heard radio from Gordon just a little bit ago talking about how he's having to wear the brakes out just to try to get the car to turn and has no drive off. That's a bad combination, and we're seeing Gordon go backwards.
Yeah, they might have a plan to fix it, but they might not have a time to fix it and get back where they've got to get to, because Kyle Busch running solidly up inside the top 10. You know, it's basically looking like they have to win, and it's going to be a tough order.
Sometimes you get into these long runs with an ill-handling car and using up those brakes, and the right front tire is what suffers. Green flag pit stops approaching. Past the 1/4 mark of tonight's race here in Richmond. Back live, Richmond International Raceway. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at lap 134 of 400. Approaching green flag pit stops. Weather on the radar around the area of the speedway. We see the occasional drop falling, but the race remains under green. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. still trying to chase down Denny Hamlin for that #1 spot.
Step 4, the rain's pretty close. That's why I'm not pitting you. I'm afraid we'll get a caution for weather. So, you know, we got
18 laps worth of fuel. I'm waiting to see what the weather does. Just drops.
They've seen some cars short pitting and making us stops getting fresh tires. I think maybe Junior was looking for tires, and he's telling him why he's holding him out there.
Yeah, and it's a difficult time for the drivers. There's some cars that have been on pit road, got fresh tires. They're making passes. They're fast. You're having to deal with lap traffic. It's making it a pretty difficult time for these leaders.
And interesting that a lot of the guys that short pitted and have been on these fresh tires recently are the guys with nothing to lose tonight. Marcos Ambrose pitted after he got lapped. Joey Logano pitted after he got lapped. Carl Edwards was on the pit road after he saw the beginning of that short pit cycle, and now the yellow flag for rain.
Now you see why Letarte kept Junior out there.
Well, we are shy of halfway. A race that started nearly 90 minutes late because of weather delay. I know football games up and down the eastern U.S. today delayed by the weather. The tennis, U.S. Open tennis up in New York, put off by weather. We're hoping we get this race completely finished tonight.
Yeah, it kind of looked like we might have enough of a window there that we might make all of this happen. But,
hopefully this is a short delay.
Pit road open. Here come the lead lap cars. Hamlin, Earnhardt Jr., Boyer, Johnson, and Kane are your top five coming in. Shannon?
Casey Kane loose in tight center is the call. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. 4 tires for that 5. Doc.
5-time champion Jimmy Johnson needs Sunoco fuel. So the car just absolutely tight in the middle. Loose off. Can't get any drive off. 4 tires. Fits.
Denny Hamlin needs help with forward drive off turn 4. 4-tire change and a chassis adjustment. Dave.
88 team knows they don't have a car that can beat the 11 yet, so they'll make a track bar adjustment, small one, full of Sunoco fuel, and leave pit road still behind Denny Hamlin.
Free pass under the caution to Ryan Newman. He's going to get back onto the lead lap. Big break for one of the drivers that must win tonight to have any chance to get into the chase. And there's Tony Stewart up into the top 10 before this race is halfway gone. Caution out, 4th time. A little rain shower here at the Speedway. Clock is ticking on Jeff Gordon's hopes of making it into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup tonight in Richmond.
Yeah, I'm just wearing the brakes out, trying to get this thing to turn.
A difficult night for Gordon, who started on the front row, now finds himself a lap down in 26th position as he tries to find some way, any way, to overcome what's been an ill-handling car so far and keep himself in the championship hunt. Under caution, 4th time in the race, this one for rain, a race that started almost 90 minutes late because of weather, started under the green and yellow for the first 6 laps, then went green, competition caution, a David Reagan spin, and then a caution for rain has been the story on this night. Dale Earnhardt Jr. led most of the first 60 laps. Denny Hamlin has done most of the leading since.
I've been running the lever forward, and I hope the rotors look okay.
Yeah, they've looked fine. I've been watching them. Let's try to get tighter one time, just around. We won't get carried away. If it hurts our speed, we'll have to go back, and we're just going to have to keep babying them tires. But, I mean, right now, I don't know if we have a car to beat the 11. So let's see if we can get a car that can beat the 11.
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to, they're close. They're just trying to get it just a little bit better. Sounds like it needs to be a little tighter.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's been complaining about a little bit, and just going to try a little bit. And they know, they're fortunate to be in position they can do that. They know that they've got to get just a little bit better if they're going to deal with Denny Hamlin before this night's over.
Yeah, second doesn't get them anything tonight.
While we work under the caution, NASCAR Race Control radioing back and forth to the pace car driver Brett Bodine about what might or might not be hitting his windshield and the condition of the track in front of him and when it'll be ready to go back racing. Take a moment and remind you, speaking of rainouts, last weekend, the biggest drag race of the season rained out in Indianapolis. Well, the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals will run tomorrow, and you'll see it at 3 Eastern time on ESPN2. And then next weekend, it's on to Chicago. The NASCAR Nationwide Series on Saturday at 3 Eastern on ESPN, and race 1 in the chase for the Sprint Cup. The Geico 400, 1 Eastern next Sunday, ESPN. Last year, Tony Stewart got his first win of the season in the first race of the chase, and he went on to capture the championship. What will we be talking about this time?
Could be somebody like Martin Truex, who's been really good on the mile and a half, but hasn't gotten that first win yet.
I'll second that. There is Denny Hamlin, the race leader. He's got a little piece of tape there dangling from the left rear.
Yeah, a lot of the teams put a piece of tape. It's just basically an index mark on the tire, so they know where that the lug holes are going to line up on the studs. Sometimes it comes off the tire right away, maybe gets back there. Looks like it hung on the quarter panel.
Not a big deal.
No.
Unless it goes off there on somebody's grill.
Yeah, and it'd be somebody else's big deal,
That's
not
right.
his.
It'll be on his grill, so he's not concerned.
Got to be a little selfish in these races, don't you? Well, Kyle Busch right now in position to claim a place in the chase. He's running in 11th spot, Vince.
Still a long way to go, and I know Dave Rogers has been working on this race car. How do you have it right now for Kyle?
Well, we got really loose at the end of that run, so we got to tighten it up. It's not where he needs it, but we'll keep working on it. We'll make it better for him.
What do you need from it right now?
We need to be more secure. We need to keep the rear tires on it longer. That's why we fell back at the end. We just burned the left rear off it.
Thanks, Dave. Dave Burns?
Catching up with Brian Petty now. He is the crew chief for Clint Boyer. He's still talking out there, so a lot of feedback from him. How good is the race car?
It's pretty good. I think we're just trying to dial it in. We're just a tick off the 11 car, but it looks like we can run with the 88 and the guys out back. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting.
He said you told him this was going to be a good change. Is this something you guys worked on in practice?
It's what the sim says, and the computer never lies.
How about that? You can trust him, I guess, Alan. And that was a track bar adjustment for Clint.
All right, Dave. Computers never lie.
Yeah, I think he's been a little bit sarcastic on that.
All right, waiting out here. The feedback going back and forth between the pace car, NASCAR spotters in the turns, and conversations with some of the drivers' spotters on the roof.
Jeff Gordon's trying to make some adjustments on this car. It's just not doing what they expected it to do. And right now, you'll see what they're doing here. They're cutting the chain. There's a chain that they put on the rear end housing, so when they make these pit stops, it picks the tire up quick so they can get those tire chains without a whole lot of pumps on the jack. Sometimes you can set that thing just a little bit too close on the left rear, and it can kind of pull it off the ground as you unload, getting in the corner. They just want to make sure this is not what the problem is. So they go ahead and cut it and then see if it gets better.
Every time I've ever been in that position and hoping and praying, that's when you're in a desperate place right there, because I haven't ever seen it work. But as you said, you have to make every effort.
All right, bud, this got us just like our teammates now. So we'll start working on that center when we get a chance. This will help you drive off a lot. Just got to focus on racing these guys at one down. I'll let you know who they are. When you get them back over here, I'll be able to tell you.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit. They are Carl Edwards, who has just taken a wave around to get to one lap down. Remember, he made the pit stop under the green. Jamie McMurray, David Ruderman, Paul Menard, Marcos Ambrose, Joey Logano, and Kurt Busch all took wave arounds. They did not pit under this yellow to be eligible to do that, but they've made up one of the 2 laps they lost by stopping under the green flag earlier. Free pass Ryan Newman, as I mentioned. He is in 17th position, and they've just waved off the restart because just as the rain died down and went away, it's picked back up just a little bit.
It's ever so slight, though. It's hard to even detect it in the lights.
But I'll bet those drivers know looking at the windshield.
Yeah, it's always interesting how the crew chiefs have a different view of the amount of rain than the drivers do.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Still shy of halfway, under caution at Richmond. We're back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Rain beating down, darling.
And NASCAR is going to bring this field down the pit lane and park them under the red flag and hope the shower passes quickly and we're able to resume competition. Again, still shy of the halfway point of this race. It is not an official event at the moment. Not a sight that anybody wanted to see, but given all that's at stake tonight, certainly the drivers and teams know that this is probably the right call.
That's smart. That's probably smart. I know we want to get done, but you can't tell if this place is dry or not. Yeah, I agree. We don't want to affect the outcome with driving it on a wet racetrack.
So they'll be coming down the pit lane and park them and cover them up here for a couple of minutes. And so we'll go under the red flag with still 248 laps to go in this race. An event that had started already nearly 90 minutes late because of rain. And we don't normally have halftime breaks in these NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races, but we're going to get an unwelcome one right now, it looks like.
Yeah, they just got to get the cars covered up. They just want to make sure they're not getting the electronics wet. Just nothing they can do other than that. They can't touch the cars. They can't make any adjustments. Once they're under the red flag, they are totally impounded.
Looking at the weather radar, there's plenty of it out there. A couple of open spots in it, but you can see from the directional arrows and so on, the weather that is out there now is moving right in the direction of the racetrack, and that's what we're in the midst of for the moment.
I see a few chances that we could get it in.
All right, drivers are still, for the most part, getting unbuckled and out of their cars. So let's talk to a couple of crew chiefs for the moment. Shannon?
Well, Steve Addington calling the shots for Tony Stewart. You told me that you guys were completely caught off guard in practice yesterday. That car looks like it's come alive. What's he saying inside that car?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. 11's really strong and 88's pretty strong, but I think that in the long run, I told you that in the truck. I said we couldn't run real fast laps, but we were really consistent, and he liked the way the balance of the car was, so he could drive it and wasn't line sensitive. So that felt pretty good about it. If we could just get long runs here, and happy. I'm really happy with the car. We've got some adjustments to make, I think, to get as fast as them guys, but we could just start up here one time instead of doing this at Richmond. But just really proud of everybody on this Office Depot Mobile One Chevrolet. They worked hard all weekend. We started bad in practice. It was like deja vu from the first race, and then halfway through happy hour we hit on some things. So did it again, and Tony drives the heck out of the car. So he's really smart about what he does and his lines. So I think I'm ready to go racing. I hate to see this rain come.
And it's nice to see a smile on your face, Steve, because I know there wasn't one yesterday in practice. Vince?
Handful have you had with the race car so far?
It's been a handful. We're working on it. We'll just keep going until the race is over and get everything we can out of it. But, yeah, we missed it. It's unfortunate, but a lot of racing left to go.
Where do you need it to be better right now?
On that track out there. I mean, we just missed it, it happens.
Thanks, Jeff. Dave?
Well, Vince, the rest of Hendrick Motorsports is up here at the front of the grid. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been running up near the front most of the time. Junior, Jeff's back there struggling. You seem to be having a pretty good night in the 88.
Yeah, we've had track position all night. I don't really know who's back here that's going to come up and make a race of it, but we just had good track position. So we've been able to maintain it. The 11 car is super strong. He's been strong all weekend, so we kind of knew that, but we can get better.
Can you describe a little bit of the, Steve called it a positive condition in the race car as it's turning, but is that too loose for you?
Yeah, well, the front's real positive, like we got a lot of camber in the right front, a little too much camber or something. It's something, I really hate to tighten the car up because it rolls the center so well, and I'm not really going backwards because I'm loose, so I kind of want to stay loose. I know it's going to be tight at the end of the race if we can get it in.
Good luck. Thank you. Let's walk back here to Jimmy. He is holding the umbrella, but hasn't opened it up yet. Are you optimistic about our chances tonight?
I don't know. I think we've gotten pretty far already. I was shocked to see us get this far, but I certainly hope so. I hate it for the fans. I'm watching it at home on television and also in the stands. Everybody wants to get this race in and know who's going to be in the chase and head on to Chicago. But my low Chevy's running good. We've had a good night so far, and whenever we go back racing, I think we'll be a threat.
What's the best thing your car is doing tonight handling-wise?
Right now, my strength is really on the short run. The longer the run goes, I start to fade some and lose rear grip. The 5, we were just joking before you walked up. The 5's got the long run car. He comes on at the end. So I think Junior's real strong early. I feel relatively strong early, and then the 5 car comes on hard at the end.
Let's check with your teammate real quick here. Hey, Casey, I heard you had the long run car. Is that what we're saying? So you should be good to go at the end of the race, right?
Well, as long as it's a 100-lap run at the end. We fall back a little bit early with our Quaker State Chevrolet, and then after probably 20 or 30 laps, my car just doesn't really change. It's not like it gets better or anything. It just doesn't get any worse than how I start. And we can come back through there pretty good. I could see a lot of those guys. I was starting to see them, so I mean, you're catching them, and I feel like we're in good shape. I hope we get to run a lot more tonight.
I think we may. 3 out of 4, Alan, in the Hendrick Motorsports camp, having a great night, but that Jeff struggle, man, that's interesting.
Yeah, Dave, you got Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 2nd, Jimmy Johnson running 4th, Casey Kane running 5th, but Jeff Gordon is a bit further down the running order, 25th.
He's the guy that knees run good, too.
Yeah. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. He's with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Actually, Denny, and talking with teammate Kyle Busch, a couple of Joe Gibbs guys, talking a lot of hand signals being used down here. They're talking about getting the car to turn in the middle and what's happening on the race. Let me ease in here a second between Denny and Kyle and chat for a moment. Let me grab Denny right quick. Hey, Denny, a lot of hand signals, a lot of discussion with you and your teammate. Can you share with us what's going on as far as your car and his car on the racetrack?
Yeah, it's just talking about our characteristics. We have 2 different setups, basically. Usually we run about the same thing every time we come here, but we're trying something a little different with our 11 FedEx car, and it looks like it's kind of what his car needs. So and he'll be back up front shortly. I got good faith in these guys.
So that's what you were sharing. He was asking questions, and you were using your hand to show about. Were you focusing mostly on getting the car to turn in the middle?
Well, one thing I was, really describing to Kyle was the line I was running. I feel like that was a little bit of an advantage for me. It's turned 1, having that big wide arc in, and it's giving me a big run off. And so, what his car's doing, hopefully it'll help him.
Okay, Danny, thank you. Let's just check in with Kyle here right quick in the car. Kyle, things going pretty well for you so far? I mean, as far as where you're on the racetrack and the car obviously coming to you a little bit.
We're all right. We've got up as high as I think 6th or something like that, but then that last restart I got freight trained pretty bad got stuck on the outside and just got freight trained, so faded a little bit, but then started going back forward, but you just use your tires up too much doing that. So we've been trying to conserve a little bit and keep the brakes under it, keep the tires under it, but just so hard to go anywhere, because anytime you feel like you're going somewhere and making ground and moving forward, you're hard on the tires, and 10 laps later, those guys will be going back by you. So really, really particular. You've got to be particular.
All right, Kyle Busch are trying to conserve, but also, importantly, trying to get into the chase. Let's go to Vince.
Another guy trying to make it into the chase is Carl Edwards. How's your night been so far?
Not too good. I just thought I'd come stand here by Victory Lane, see if anything comes to me. But our cheese at Fort Fusion was okay. We're struggling with a little bit of balance, but as the track changed, it got better. And then we thought, all right, we're gonna go out on a limb here. We pitted early, had fresh tires, and we're gonna make up some track position, and then the caution came out. So we just predicted the rain about 5 minutes wrong, and we're hoping it gets back going here. Like to get this race in tonight. It's a great racetrack, and who knows what could play out still. I think we got a good enough car. If we get some track position, we could fight for the victory.
Thanks, Carl. Shannon?
Down here with Tony Stewart, we were talking to Steve Addington just a few seconds ago. First time I've seen a smile on his face pretty much all weekend. I know you guys had your struggles in practice. You knew it was going to be a long-run car, though. How different is it in the race?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, on the practice sheets, it only shows your fastest lap. So, and the longest run we made was 11 laps. This car is really getting good about lap 25. So, it's fallen right in suit with what we did in the spring. I would rather have a little speed on the front of the run, but it's really good midway to the end of the run. So we need this rain to quit, and we need to get long runs.
Tony Stewart finished third here in April. Alan?
Now Tony up into 10th position after starting deep in the field. The 14 taking the green flag back in 28th spot. We're still shy of halfway, not an official race. The red flag is out at Richmond.
Into the weekend, there were 8 drivers eligible for 2 spots left in the chase. The Ram race rundown, you can see how they're running. Keep in mind, Tony Stewart is locked into the chase based on his previous wins, those 3 wins so far this season. It's just a matter of where he will be seated in the top 12 drivers. As they run right now, Casey Kane and Kyle Busch will be wild card spots number 1 and 2. Breaking news. You need to go.
All right.
Get on out of here. Drivers are being called to the cars, which means this little red flag we have going on here is about to be called away. So go on, get out of here. We're hoping to go back racing in just a few minutes. We talked a few seconds ago about Richard Childress Racing and their turnaround. Check this out. Last weekend in Atlanta, Paul Menard finished 8th. Kevin Harvick finished 5th. Jeff Burton finished 12th. And Doc just so happens to be standing by with Jeff Burton.
And they're talking about how good they can be tonight. Right now, Jeff Burton's 14th. Talk about the turnaround the last couple of weeks for RCR and where your car's headed tonight.
Well, I think Kevin and I got the same issue. We're loose on entry, but we're too tight in the middle, so we get hampered. Our center of the corner speed isn't what we needed to be. And our exit speed isn't great, but then as the run goes on, then we both get too loose. So we're both struggling with a little bit of the same thing. I think this rain's going to change it again. We're going to have to rubber back up again. So it'll be interesting to see who gets good here and who can stay good for the rest of the race.
I know you got to go to your car. We'll let you get back in. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, going to go back and make some changes just like Kevin Harvick did, Nicole, and get ready to go racing again.
Will certainly be interesting to see which driver can find the rhythm in this. Rain races are always difficult and interesting to see how they play out. We'll be back with hopefully some green flag racing from Richmond in a second.
Track drawing ongoing at Richmond International Raceway in tonight's chase deciding race for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The final 2 positions in the chase for the Sprint Cup that begins next Sunday at Chicagoland Speedway, up for grabs tonight here in Virginia. Drivers have been called to their cars. They will get buckled in and we'll send them back onto the racetrack and resume this event shortly. We'll take a moment and remind you that tomorrow on ESPN2 at 3 Eastern Time, the rain postponed Mac Tool's U.S. Nationals for the NHRA drag racers from Indianapolis. That is tomorrow on ESPN2. And the NASCAR action resumes next weekend at Chicagoland Speedway. Nationwide Series on Saturday at 3 Eastern Time on ESPN. And the Geico 400 to begin the chase for the Sprint Cup next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. So main story on the night tonight is the pursuit of those final couple of places in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. 8 drivers eligible for what would be 2 positions on the night. Some of those 8 faring much better than others at the moment, though still plenty of racing left to go before this is an official event. You see Tony Stewart, who started way in the back, made some nice progress forward to try and hold on to that 10th position in points.
Yeah, I don't think that really surprised us, as we had a lot of green flag racing there, and that's when Tony's car was the very best, and looks like he's going to secure that 10th spot.
Well, it's not surprising to see Tony Stewart run well here, but I'm surprised that he's running as good as he is after the weekend he's had so far. I mean, it was so bad in practice. I don't know how you can ever keep your head up and have enough confidence that you're going to be this good in the race to go into it like this. But he's done a great job tonight. Steve Addington, pretty confident with the setup in the long run especially.
So Tony Stewart, Casey Kane on the plus side of the ledger tonight. Stewart running from 28th up to 10th. Casey Kane running in 5th position. Kyle Busch running in 11th. But the man you saw earlier, Jeff Gordon, the guy who has struggled in his attempt to try and wrestle that final place in the chase away from Kyle Busch. Jeff is now running a lap down and is back in 25th position.
They need a magic bullet or something tonight to fix that car, because I don't think they're just a couple of small adjustments away from being good.
Yeah, and they've been making adjustments, and now once again they face a different racetrack. So, have the adjustments that they made. Is it going to work with this as they try to get this racetrack rubbered back in when we go back green? I would expect to watch Kyle Busch be a little bit conservative. Not the Kyle Busch that we're used to seeing, just knowing the struggles that Jeff Gordon has had. And we're not exactly sure how long this thing's going to go as we once we get back to green.
Yeah, it's almost like it's going to take a disaster for Kyle Busch tonight to not be in the chase. And I mean, it'd be something like an engine failure or some kind of mechanical failure, or maybe, like you say, a crash, so he needs to be a little conservative there. But he looks like he has the upper hand right now.
And that's the story of the chase picture to this point in the race. The story of the race itself tonight, the Federated Auto Parts 400, has been Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing a lot of the leading in the opening segment of the race, swapping the lead back and forth with Denny Hamlin for a bit, and now Hamlin being the guy who has paced this recent run.
Yeah, and that really doesn't surprise us. Even though they're trying some new things, as we've heard Denny Hamlin and Darian Grubb talk about, with this race car, with their setups here, they've been awfully good here in the past. Denny Hamlin has victories here. But to see them have something new and it working, I think that with what we've seen the past few weeks, everybody has to be looking at Denny Hamlin as being a favorite for this chase and for the championship.
It looks good tonight, too, except I tell you, that 88 car looks good. I know that they're just a little bit off of being a car that can beat that 11 car tonight. And Junior's got great stats on these short tracks. I mean, you can look right there. Just this season, his worst finish on the short track's been 15th with an average finish of 8. He's really good at this style of racing, and it's a little different than racing on a 1.5 mile or a 2 mile racetrack. It's where you hold the gas down all the time. It's how you use the brakes. It's how you use the throttle, and Junior is really good at it.
Junior has paced this race on 4 different occasions tonight for 64 laps. Denny Hamlin twice for 85 laps and is the leader of the most laps so far. Other leaders, Jeff Gordon for 2 laps and Michael McDowell for 1 on an exchange of caution flag pit stops. That's the setting so far as we get set to go back. And you mentioned something there just a second ago. I want to follow up on how many laps this race may go as we resume the competition with the lap 200 mark in sight. Drivers and crew chiefs now may have to think with a little more urgency because there is still a lot of junk on the radar.
I look at the radar. I'm pretty confident that we can get it in maybe without getting the track wet again. The thing is, it's getting really late. If I'm sitting on the pit box, I don't know what NASCAR's thinking is here, but I'm thinking it's probably not going to make 400 laps for maybe a curfew here in the area of running way past midnight. I don't know how late they can run here, but I think we'll be okay on the weather. It's iffy, but I think my prediction is it'll be fine.
Well, that's what the teams are looking at on their pit boxes. And we will see if it does get to the 400 lap mark tonight or in the wee hours of the morning. Betrayed by the very nation they swore to protect, the crew of America's most powerful nuclear submarine's been targeted for destruction. From the creator of The Shield, Andre Brower and Scott Speedman star in Last Resort series premiere Thursday, September 27th, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on ABC. So track drying beginning to wrap up, and these drivers once again facing the mystery of different track conditions when they go barreling off into turn 1 than they faced when they took the caution flag now about 50 minutes ago.
And you keep seeing them wipe these windshields. It's still just spitting a little bit of rain, so that's never fun as you drive off into a corner at over 100 miles an hour from the driver to see exactly what may happen.
There's a look. The track surface is drying, and they're getting ready to take the track drying equipment off the track and back onto the pit lane and fire these race cars up and send them back out. But that pesky drip, drip, drip continues, just enough to be annoying.
I think we're good to go.
Bring him up, gang. Bring him up.
All right. NASCAR race director David Hoots telling them down on pit road, start them up. It's time to go racing again at Richmond. Carl Edwards made a green flag pit stop just before the caution came out. He's a lap down, got some ground to make up for his slim hopes of being in the championship. Coming back to restart the race in Richmond. Thank you so much for staying with us. The green flag after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We are live at Richmond International Raceway, 1 lap away from resuming tonight's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. A 51-minute red flag for rain after the race started late, nearly 90 minutes because of weather earlier, but still shy of halfway and plenty of racing left to go tonight here in Virginia's capital city. Denny Hamlin and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have done most of the leading. They're running first and second. Ryan Newman got the free pass to get back on the lead lap at the caution for the rain. He's in 17th position. Everybody's on fresh tires, but different track conditions than when they shut them down. How's the restart going to play out?
Yeah, fresh tires, but the air pressures may not be exactly what they want there.
It might be a little bit lower from having to sit there as long as they did.
Pace cars off. We are back at it in Richmond. Three wide there. Montoya to the inside of Kyle Busch, 42 and 18.
That's not the position Kyle Busch wants to be in right now.
And for the lead, Dale Earnhardt Jr. swings around Denny Hamlin.
Junior's car's been really good on these restarts, getting up to speed.
Third place, Clint Boyer, 15. Jimmy Johnson, 48.
And this racing right here is going to be pretty intense because they're not sure how much past halfway that they're going to get in with this race. There is more rain around us right now.
Certainly the circumstances under which these drivers are competing and moving toward halfway, they've all been informed of it just before the restart.
The city noise ordinance and everything coming up on us pretty quick. That next rain shower will probably do it. So we know what we've got here.
And a lead change. That on Clint Boyer's radio as Denny Hamlin goes back around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now let me just clarify a couple of things. There is nothing in the conversation about shortening the race for a noise ordinance or anything like that. The conversation is about the weather.
Weather out there. We're seeing Jimmy Johnson make his presence known now.
I'll tell you somebody else too is Casey Kane right behind this group. This is the best he's fired off. He's got a great long run race car, but it's taken off pretty good on this run. If it still hangs on and run about 50, 60 laps, he might have something for him.
Tony Stewart has moved up to 8th since the restart. There's Kyle Busch hanging out in 10th. Behind him, 17, Matt Kenseth. Mark Martin, 55 for 11th spot. And Jimmy Johnson rolling. Trying to take second place away from Dale Earnhardt Jr., who slides back to third, Dave.
You saw him stacked up there behind him, Alan. He just radioed into his crew, loose. That car is turning too well.
I was going to say they talked about making the car a little bit tighter to try to beat the 11, and they were going to make an adjustment for that. It's a good thing that's the direction they went, because I thought maybe he was too tight was the reason he was sliding back.
Well, and you would expect the car to be a little looser with this condition, kind of like it was at the beginning of the race. A lot of grip there. That means the front wheel grip probably even better than what the back wheel. That'll make you a little bit loose right in the center of the corner.
So Junior back to 4th and sliding off the corner. Martin Truex Jr. coming after him. Matt Kenseth a lap ago.
He's going to try to make a pass thinking that he's got that spot from Mark Martin, but see Mark close it up and had to get on the brakes hard. Well, you hope you don't flat spot a tire right there.
Yeah, I think that did, actually. You saw how long that tire was sliding. That's not a good sign for Matt. Shannon?
Yeah, he did come over the radio, and I heard him say flat spot. I did check in with him before he climbed in the car. He told me he thought that this car was capable of running in the top 10 tonight, so we'll see how that affects things right now.
And a flat spotted tire is literally that spot where those brakes were locked up and that tire was grinding along the pavement.
Well, the big loser here, Junior, he is really sliding back.
That was Tony Stewart going by Dale Jr. for 7th spot. Junior back to 8th. Remember, he led after the restart. keeps marching steadily toward the front.
And by the time we get to about halfway of this race, pick and stay green to then, Tony Stewart will be making up some more time. Got a battle for second now. I don't know if it's going to be much of a battle. Clint Boyer on his way to the front.
Interesting how we've heard some conversation about short run and long run cars during this race, right? Jimmy Johnson really fast after the restart, but Clint Boyer seeming to be more steady as she goes.
Clint Boyer, watching him drive in the corners right now, looks like a man that thinks that this thing may only go just over 200 laps before we get another rain shower. We heard him earlier talking about some lap traffic that was behind him. I think he's got all focus right ahead of him right now.
I don't think he's looking in the mirror now. He's looking at that 11. Car looks really good right now, Dave.
It does, Andy, and both driver and crew chief believe that they are going to get themselves in line to run for the championship once this chase starts next week. They've had some human error on the car both last week and this week, but there's a big team meeting for the 15 bunch this week, and Brian Patty told me we're going to tell folks, hey, it's going to ramp up here. It's not going to be as easy as it has been, and we need to get ourselves together for this chase. But Clint knows he has the speed, and he is positive that they can win the championship.
Well, that's half the battle right there, just thinking you can do it.
Clint Boyer, one win this season on the road course in Sonoma, California. He's been very good and won here at Richmond in the past. Jimmy Johnson running in third position. Has held off Martin Truex Jr. for that spot for now. In an effort to help introduce kids to NASCAR, Lowe's created free build and grow clinics. Like one at Richmond earlier today, kids received a discount ticket, a chance to ask Jimmy Johnson a couple of questions, and a free build and grow kit. Visit your local Lowe's for more details. Johnson trying to build some momentum toward a possible 6th championship in the way he's run across the summer of 2012. One would be foolish to count him out.
But look at that car right behind you. That Martin Truex has been impressive, hasn't he? Last few weeks, it seems like every time you look up, he's going forward. Really working on Jimmy.
And we all wondered how he would react and this team would react to getting their hearts broken in Atlanta last weekend. Had a lead late in the race when Jamie McMurray had a tire go down and hit the wall, brought out the caution. And the Hamlin pit crew got him off pit road in first. Truex didn't get a good restart, and he lost the race that he had within his grasp.
Yeah, but I tell you what, this is a strong race team and organization, and they have good leadership there, starting with their owner, Michael Waltrip. Ty Norris does a great job there also. They get in team meetings and realize, hey, let's focus on the positive things that we did. We put ourselves in a position to win. It's going to happen. We just have to keep performing like that.
Truex up to third, Doc.
Exactly, and what DJ was saying, Martin Truex said they sat down and had a team meeting after what happened in Atlanta. Said, you know what we should take away from Atlanta was we had a great race car that could have won the race. So now we know we can go in and win the chase. We got a good race car here, but right now they're moving away from the battle for fourth spots in the 5 and the 48.
Battle that didn't last long. Casey Kane up to fourth. Jimmy Johnson back to fifth.
This 5 car's been on the move since the green flag flew again, to kind of what we saw at the beginning of the race on a green racetrack whenever Casey Kane's car was a little bit better, Shannon.
That's right, and on that first run, Dale, that you were just referring to, it was really turning very well, loose off. They had made an adjustment on the first pit stop and really hurt the center of that turn. It got really tight. So it was a wedge and air pressure adjustment on that last pit stop, and it looks like it really worked because, as you said, he's taken off on this restart.
Now Kane doing what he needs to right now to clinch one of those places in the chase. Running solidly in the top 5. He's in 4th position. Kyle Busch also in position to claim the other wild card position in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Kyle, though, back in 12th.
Well, this far away. Jump for this place. It was really good to start. I don't know what happened. Okay, good for it.
It's got to be aggravating, though, to have a car like this for Kyle Busch. He's so good here.
Won 4 of the last 7 at Richmond is Kyle right now, though, outside of the top 10, but in position to qualify for the chase for the Sprint Cup. Steady, if not spectacular, Gordon has not been nearly up to the standard he was hoping for after starting on the outside of the front row. Tony Stewart looking to lock up the 10th position and the final place in the chase, where the wins you've accumulated this season would count for bonus points in the seeding for the championship. Doing not just a good job tonight, they've been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it looked like he's going to secure those 9 points for those 3 wins and stay inside the top 10.
So Jeff Gordon running right now. The third car 1 lap down in 20th place, needing to pass both Regan Smith and Carl Edwards to be in position to get a free pass.
We're going right back to the same place here, guys. Real loose in, real tight in the center. Drywall is going away bad. It was better, but it's going away bad. 10-4, nice, smooth, keep it straight.
And you see those hands on the wheel inside that 24 car, pretty busy.
Yeah, and Andy, you know, we've heard him talking and giving feedback to Alan Gustafson, but that's probably one of the hardest things to fix, a loose in and loose off, but tight in the middle situation.
Yeah, it is, and it's really, in my experience, if you fix the middle, a lot of that other stuff kind of takes care of itself. They just have not had it tonight, but that's good feedback from Jeff.
And you see Carl Edwards just in front of this group. Carl is now the first car 1 lap down. Remember, it just pitted under the green before the caution for rain. Took a wave around to get back one of the 2 laps he's lost. If the caution were to come out now, he would be back on the lead lap and keeping his slim Hail Mary, a gotta win hopes at finding a way into the chase. Barely alive.
Yeah, and taking a chance is kind of what got them a couple of laps down. They took a wave around and everything, but trying to pit early and take a chance and see if they could gain some track position and make it all happen. This car here, Denny Hamlin, our leader, not having problems passing them 2 at a time.
Hamlin, winner of the last 2 races in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Last Sunday in Atlanta, the week before Bristol, Tennessee, looking to make it 3 straight and 5 on the season. And head off into the chase for the Sprint Cup as the #1 seed.
Yeah, #1 seed by 6 points. That's what would be so big.
Especially with the lessons of last year, where essentially the 2 drivers atop the standings tied in points at the end of the final race, and the tiebreaker for most wins won it.
So 6 points can make a huge difference.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and a driver that admittedly says, I'm much stronger mentally, and I'm a better race driver and more prepared to try to win a championship than what he was a couple of years ago whenever he battled Jimmy Johnson down to Homestead, but gave up a lead there and eventually lost to Jimmy.
Denny Hamlin in some pretty heavy lap traffic now. One of those hoping to find a way to win the race and have a shot at a place in the chase. Joey Logano in the 20, about to go a 2nd lap down. Joey's down in 29th place.
Yeah, one of those drivers that was needing to win to have any chance of making the chase, but obviously not happening tonight.
One thing I like about Denny and here especially is how disciplined he is about moving around lap traffic. He doesn't lose a lot of time. Watch the lap times while he's in traffic. It doesn't cost him a lot of time to make these passes, and I think that's one of the things that makes him so good here. And it's easy to try to rush to the gas and try to make that pass quickly, and then you spin the tires 1 lap that hurts the next lap. And he is just so disciplined about the way he does it.
There's Clint Boyer, 15, running 2nd. Martin Truex Jr., 56, closing in on him for 3rd, or in 3rd. And Casey Kane in the 5, also joining this little fight for 2nd place.
Yeah, Truex Jr. has made a nice run since he passed Jimmy Johnson a number of laps back, and has really gained quite a bit on his teammate there, Clint Boyer, for that 2nd spot.
So you spin the tires right there off turn 4. Can't do that very many times. You got to take care of those rear tires.
There are 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 15, 56, and 5. Then a look back to Jimmy Johnson in the 48, who runs in 5th position. There's Jimmy. And behind Jimmy now, racing for 6th and 7th spots, Kevin Harvick in the 29 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
Yeah, complained about his car being a lot looser after we went back green here. Kind of settled in, and lap times look pretty solid, but I think Junior's just waiting so they can make another adjustment. Not doing anything crazy with a loose race car.
Key moment in this race is about to unfold here. When the leader comes to the start-finish line next time by, we will be halfway through this race in one more lap. So if the rain should close back in and circumstances prevent the race from being run to its full distance, then it becomes an official race. And now that really shadows all you're thinking on that pit box if you're a crew chief.
Well, the problem is that you don't know when it's going to end now. It's just a moving target. You're looking at the radar. You try to make guesses at that, but you want to try to keep your car as far up as long as you can here. You don't want to try, say, a strategy move like a short pit that will pay off later in a run, knowing that you may not get there.
Yeah, and you know, Kyle Busch sits here in a pretty good position. Even though he's not happy with his race car, he's sitting in 12th. But as this possible rain approaches, we're past halfway now. There is a driver still in the lead lap, and then Ryan Newman, who has one win, that could possibly stay out there maybe a little bit longer. And if the rain comes at the right time for him, wrong time for someone else, then things change once again.
Casey Kane. See Casey Kane now on the move. I saw that 56 spin the tires a couple of times, and it's taking its toll a little bit on those rear tires.
And as you said, once that starts, Andy, it's hard not to have. You want to keep going, but once you start getting heat in that right rear, the air pressure builds up a little bit more. Hard to cool it back down without just backing off and saving it for a little bit.
Well, look at Boyer. He's struggling with these lap cars.
Tell me if I'm better or worse. It looks much better. Not you, the spotter. Let's calm down, man. Run the bottom. Hi, I'm fine. I'm just asking for some damn help, and you're not talking.
Well, sometimes apparently Clint may be wanting some information as far as maybe lap times and things like that, as to what he's doing, maybe how his rotors are looking. Is he attacking a little too much? And he's not getting that from his crew chief.
One thing I got from it is his intensity level is really high right now. He is driving hard.
We're past halfway in Richmond. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Still a lot of racing to go. See how it all plays out. Live at Richmond International Raceway, the Federated Auto Parts 400, twice delayed by rain, but under green and past the halfway point of the event, with Denny Hamlin out in front of a new second place driver. There's Hamlin. And the man who's now closest to him in the running order is Casey Kane in the 5.
Well, you can see Casey Kane has really picked it up. I don't know if he's moved up the racetrack or his car's coming to him.
You know, we heard Denny Hamlin talk about being able to arc his car into the corner, stay out wide. Casey Kane's doing a lot of that same thing, and I've seen him do this at a lot of racetracks, but it really gets a big run off the corner.
Yeah, he's run up the racetrack 3 and 4 especially. You can see he's working up about a lane higher than most of the other leaders. I don't know if that's why he's picked up speed, or his car has been good in the long run all night, and we may be at that point in the run that his car's coming in. But he's definitely playing with his line a little bit.
So Denny Hamlin, the race leader, as we go up to speed and check in on some of these front runners. Vince Welch is covering the leader.
Well, it's been a dominating performance for Denny tonight. His crew chief, Darian Grubb, said Denny Hamlin is a great short track racer, has a great feel for the car, knows what matters, takes care of the tires, and he is relentless when he has to be. That's the kind of mentality we're seeing from Hamlin tonight. And to make matters worse for the competition, Hamlin says that drive off that he was missing before, he's got it now. Shannon?
Well, don't look now. Casey Kane started this race 21st, and he has moved all the way into the second position. There were a lot of nerves inside that hauler earlier today when I spoke with crew chief Kenny Francis there on the right-hand side, because while they did have 2 wins on the year, they were not locked into the chase. This run certainly has to be easing some of those fears. Dave?
Clint Boyer is locked into the chase, Shannon, and some of his intensity again comes from that fact that he thinks he can win the championship. Right now, he has lost a turn in his race car. That's why he was searching for another line. That's one of the reasons why he was kind of upset. He hasn't found it yet. The car is still tight, Doc.
And behind him, Martin Truex Jr. had a great car when he reached back to Green Flag Racing. Said the car was perfect in, perfect off, a little tight in the middle. But as Andy Petrie pointed out, they burned up some of those rear tires, and now he's having trouble getting up off the corner. And we'll get it adjusted here on the next pit stop. Behind them, likewise, the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champion. Car took off well. Jimmy may have overdriven it, maybe burned up some tires, having trouble with getting some rear grip on drive off. Chad Canal said just keep the car where you are, keep it in the top 5, and we'll work on it at the next pit stop. Dave.
Pole sitter Dale Earnhardt Jr., 67 laps led on the night. We heard him talk about his loose race car. That is still the case. Way looser, he said, in and off of the corner. Crew Chief Steve Letarte promising a big adjustment the next time they come down pit road. Doc?
Behind them, Kevin Harvick. You heard Kevin talk about in our pit studio how pleased he was with the adjustments that Gil Martin was making. Well, Gil made an adjustment on the prior pit stop that's really paid off for Kevin, being able to get the car now the turn in the middle of the corner. Turning in the corner helps you get up off the corner, and that means speed, and he's showing it right now on the track. Dave.
Doc, Sam Hornish has lost one spot since the restart, complaining he just can't control the rear of the car like he wants to. They'll need an adjustment for Sam the next time they come down pit road. Shannon?
Well, Tony Stewart was very frustrated after practice yesterday. He said he wasn't focused on the last 10 races of the chase. His focus was just getting through this weekend in this race here tonight because they were very slow. They had very tight conditions, but they stuck with the plan. This is the same car that they had in April, and it had showed very similar tendencies. They said it was a long-run car, and the car has really come alive as the laps have wound down. Doc?
Back in 10th spot, Brad Keselowski. Now, crew chief Paul Wolf using more of a New Hampshire setup, trying something to learn something for the chase in 2 weeks. So the car's not bad. Brad said, right now, I'm still loose in and tied about 2/3 of the way through the corner, but the car and the track are coming to me.
Well, I checked in with Matt Kenseth before he climbed in his car during that rain delay. He told me on the first run he felt his car was just about a 17th place car. After they made the adjustments, he felt it was a 12th place car. He said a couple more adjustments, he felt he could definitely run in the top 10 here tonight. He just came over the radio and said, I'm just a little bit tight in the middle, so expect some changes on this next pit stop. Vince?
The 55, the ageless one, Mark Martin. He was on the pole here in April, led 29 laps, finished 8th, said he burned the tires off the car that night. He wants to make sure that doesn't happen tonight. But right now, he's missing some side bite from the car, and that's been the biggest difference in his handling. The 18 of Kyle Busch, loose in, plowing the center, and loose off. Boy, I wish I had $1 for every time we've heard that tonight on the radios. But he's won here 4 times. He knows what he needs to make his car good. There's the 39 of Ryan Newman going underneath Kyle Busch. Ryan told us during the weather break they've been fighting wicked tight in the center, but they think they're making strides with it. Crew Chief Tony Gibson has been working on it at each pit stop. It's not quite there yet, but they're going in the right direction.
So Greg Biffle there, championship leader coming into the night, running in 14th place, and we've begun to see some green flag pit stops. Some of the cars a lap down have been in. Now the first of the lead lap cars is in with Mark Martin on the pit lane. Bad news for Carl Edwards. Leader Denny Hamlin has overtaken a couple of other cars. Carl is no longer the first car lap down. And now that we've got some cars out there on fresher tires, like Joey Logano 20 and David Gilliland 38, there's going to be some people make the fastest car on the racetrack, the leader, look awfully slow.
And you have to be really careful racing around these guys. They come back out, they're trying to make up as much time as they possibly can. Make sure you give them plenty of room and don't get yourself in trouble.
Marcos Ambrose in.
See the tires they're taking off have a little bit of wall paint on them. Like he's been against the wall a little bit.
Ambrose, one of the guys needing to win this race to have a shot at a chase place.
You know, a situation like this more than a Denny Hamlin or even a Casey Kane. Of course, Casey still needs to have a good night, but who's more dangerous for than them is someone like Kyle Busch, who's struggling with his race car and the handling anyway. Gets drivers out here on fresh tires around him, can make it very difficult.
There's Mark Martin, who just got those fresh tires. He'll easily whip around Denny Hamlin.
He'll get one of the 2 laps he lost when he made the pit stop. Get it back.
Jeff Burton, 15th place car, about to be put a lap down by the leader.
Like Matt Kenseth's car kind of perked up here at the end of this run.
Yeah, it's been really good on the longer run, and they haven't had much track position, had to drive up through there, but looks like this 17's handling pretty good at the end of this, Shannon.
Well, Andy, about lap 219, Matt Kenseth did radio in, and he said he thought he might have a tire going down. The guys got on the wall, and they were prepared to bring him down pit road. They decided to let him stay out there just a little bit longer just to try to turn some laps, and he hasn't said anything further about that tire.
Could have a slow leak in it and may have adjusted his car just to be like he wanted it. Wow, that's a tight spot there for Jimmy.
Yeah, and the 27, Paul Menard is one of those that's been in, had no fresh tires. We saw Marcus Ambrose, another one with fresh tires. So really have to be on your toes with these cars really going.
Juan Pablo Montoya, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, and more on the pit lane. Shannon?
Juan Pablo Montoya pretty happy with the car all weekend. Once the race started, just a little bit loose in and tight in the center, so they'll continue to work on that.
Brad Keselowski talking about the car being loose in, tied about 2/3 of the way. Air pressure adjustment right side, 4 tires. Going to make a wedge adjustment left rear. Dave.
Left rear wedge adjustment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. 4 tires, no go fuel. 16 of Greg Biffle in as well. Biffle is going to get a wedge adjustment. He wants him to free it up a little bit more with that. It'll be left rear as well. 4 tires for Biffle. Vince.
The 11 of Denny Hamlin coming to the box. It's a little loose on exit. They're going to put some tape on the front. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Hamlin. He has not said much on the radio, and that's typically a good sign. No chassis adjustments for the 11, just that tape on the grill and 4 tires. The 39 of Ryan Newman, tight in the center, loose off. The entry is pretty good for Ryan, and that's a good sign, so they just got to get that center worked on, which they've been working on all night long. An air pressure adjustment and 4 tires. Doc?
Jimmy Johnson said the car started off really good. Now it's really, really snugged up. In fact, Jimmy said it's very ugly. You saw the chassis adjustment right rear. 4 tires going on. Air pressure. Shannon, how about the 14?
Tight center, loose off is the call for the 14 of Tony Stewart. Those guys put 4 tires on the car, guys.
So the cycle of pit stops completed that quickly, and Denny Hamlin holds on to the top spot. Hamlin leading, still 167 to go. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Caution flag is out here at Richmond. Clint Boyer has spun.
Let's get back here. We're leading lap.
For him to have that left rear flapping around under that.
I think that'd be a little contact maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Boyer was running in 3rd prior to the pit stops, at 5th place at the moment that he spun.
Carl Edwards had just come down pit road. He'd gotten back onto the lead lap because he had not pitted yet. I thought he might go on
5, 4, 3, right here. 3, 2, 1.
Edwards went on and made his pit stop though, which got him back a lap down again.
So we'll follow up on what happened to Clint Boyer.
See that? That looks like an exhaust pipe coming out.
And right there, I'm sure he's already cut the tire down. Yep, there it goes. He tried to hang on to it. It's just almost impossible to hang on to a car with a left rear tire down.
So Kyle Busch is back on pit road under the caution flag, and Ryan Newman is going to get a penalty because on his green flag pit stop, they had a tire get away from the team and roll across the pit lane. Newman is going to go from 12th position before the pit stop cycle back. I don't know that he's going to lose a whole lot of ground because there's not that many cars on the lead lap. But here's what happened to the 39 team.
Oh yeah, that left rear just happened to take a bad bounce.
Things are a lot like a football. You just don't know what's going to happen when they hit the ground.
Yeah. You kind of count on it going back towards the wall. That's what he's trying to swing it back that way. And it just, like I say, took a bad bounce, took off front.
Yeah, normally somebody there to catch it. He didn't quite get it back far enough for them to be able to reach it.
Looks like Boyer's going to be okay, but boy, this is going to be a big blow to his track position.
That flat tire rattling around under the left rear corner of the car. That's looks like maybe knocked the braces that hold that quarter panel in place.
Yeah, he got a small lightweight brace that holds that bottom part of that left rear quarter panel. I'm sure that flapping tread rubber took it out.
Still there inside. Easy. Boy, I don't know why the 15 stopped in the middle. I didn't want to hit him. He blocked me getting into the corner and then he stopped, you know? Yeah, simple. I'll tell him if they got a problem.
Juan Pablo Montoya running right now in 17th position.
Yeah, you see the tire mark on the side of the 42, right? Going across that exhaust pipe. Yeah, it's just going to cut a tire down every time.
So we come to the green. 3 wide for the race lead. Truex looking for some running room low.
Denny Hamlin had to drive that in, maybe a little extra car length to make sure that the 56 didn't get to him right there.
And look at Mark Martin get a big run, taking 3rd spot from Casey Kane.
Short run versus long run for that 5 car. Been a topic of conversation tonight. Casey told us during the rain delay they didn't get going very well, but over a 100-lap run, they were the best out there.
I tell you, Truex giving Hamlin all he wants right now.
Hamlin didn't want any more right at this point in time.
So leading for the first time tonight, Martin Truex Jr.
Some serious racing going on back here right now. Everybody trying to get everything they can, not knowing really how long this thing may continue to go on.
Tony Stewart running in 9th position. Just ahead of Brad Keselowski. And a side-by-side between Kenseth 17 and Hornish 22. I mentioned that Kyle Busch made a 2nd pit stop. Remember, they stopped just under the green, then he came back in under the caution, Vince.
That's right, Alan. When he came in the first time, they made a wedge adjustment, a track bar adjustment, air pressure, just couldn't get it to turn in the center. And they decided, since he was the 15th car out of 16 on the lead lap, they just come back in and they put a rubber in that left rear to try to help him out a little bit.
That conservative approach we talked about, that's what he needs. He just needs to have a decent, solid night. If his car's not handling right, just go ahead and make a few changes to it. He doesn't need to win. He just needs to try to maintain his points position ahead of Jeff Gordon. who is also struggling tonight. He is in that lucky dog spot, though, right now, should the caution come out.
Yeah, Jeff just made a pass on Carl Edwards. They're battling for that. Gordon looks like his car's a lot better right now than what I've seen in previous restarts. He's able to really make some passes and show some speed for the first time tonight.
17th place for Jeff. Let's mention that Jeff Burton got the free pass at that last caution to come back around on the lead lap. And Ryan Newman went from 12th to 16th with that penalty for rolling the tire on the pit stop. So still got 154 laps to go. New leader, Martin Truex Jr. in the 56. Just ahead of the man who's led most of the laps tonight, Denny Hamlin in the 11. There are 16 cars on the lead lap. We've had 2 separate delays for rain during the night tonight, and that's why, yes, this is live at about 20 minutes after 12 East Coast time. We thank you so much for staying with us. Change for 7th place, Tony Stewart getting by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Stewart in the 14.
Tony still looks like he's struggling a little bit with the car right in the center of the corner, but man, he's getting some really good drive up off. That'll stick with him through this run.
And for the lead, Denny Hamlin.
That's why Denny Hamlin pulled over a while ago and didn't contest Martin Truex taking the lead for a little bit. He knows how good his car is, especially as he gets more laps on the tires. He's just better than the rest of the field here. Stewart's pretty good too.
Getting that 6th position away from Mark Martin.
And what a run from 28th for Tony Stewart.
Team, I think it's fair to say, that's lacked a little momentum of late, and looking for some to launch off into a bid to defend the championship that Tony Stewart won a year ago. Haven't been with us throughout the night. Basically, the picture for the championship chase places looking exactly the same right now as it did to start the night. Stewart still 10th in points. Casey Kane and Kyle Busch still in the wild card positions as they run. Juan Pablo Montoya just way up the racetrack a minute ago and almost caught the wall. .149 laps still to go at Richmond. Denny Hamlin out front. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. A night that's been a struggle for Jeff Gordon thus far, maybe showing signs of life. Gordon went a lap down earlier in the race with a very ill-handling car. Denny Hamlin going by Jeff to put him in arrears. Others who are trying to race their way into the chase, Ryan Newman with that tire violation a minute ago, but on the other side of the coin for Newman, he got a free pass earlier that got him back on the lead lap at the rain delay. And Clint Boyer, who ran top 2, top 3 a lot of the night, suffering misfortune a bit ago when contact with Juan Pablo Montoya cut the left rear tire on that 15 car. Boyer now back in 14th place. On the move, Casey Kane.
Once again, we see this car after a few laps really come to life as the air pressures get built up. Starts making its way to the front. Here's a car with some speed finally tonight.
He is passing some cars on this run.
Jeff Gordon, the first car 1 lap down. He's in 17th place. But the guy he's about to pass is the 9th place car. Jeff has passed all those other cars between Matt Kenseth and last on the lead lap, Jeff Burton. And he's working on the 9th place car here.
Yeah, he just needs a caution. And there have been plenty of opportunities with some of the racing we've seen, but everybody's held it together.
And he makes another pass on Matt Kenseth.
Can you imagine what he's thinking?
Yeah, like where was this when we needed it earlier?
Yeah.
Just a yellow right now puts him right back in the game.
Let's see if one shows up. Alan Gustafson and crew have stayed after tuning on that race car all night.
I'll tell you somebody else is a lot better this run is Kyle Busch. They came back and made that extra stop like you said, Alan, and it's made their car a lot better. He's actually driven up to 8th spot.
Well, you were talking about Kyle Busch, Andy, and he has worked his way up to 8th spot now.
P9. All that for 9th? I lied. P8. Oh, okay, that's better. Oh yeah, it's all about making you happy. Make it live here, stretching everything out back.
And he says, well, we can live here. This will work for us right now.
Restarted 13th.
Yeah, he's really shown some speed that we haven't seen. I am seeing a lot of red from the brake rotors there, so a little concerned that he's using a lot of brake and making a lot of speed here right now, but he's getting the job done.
Championship picture. Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, Kyle Busch doing what they need to do to hold on to their places in the chase. Where Stewart can't fall out. He could fall out of the top 10 back into the wild card, but for now, having a great night. He's got those brakes glowing now on that 18. And there they are. I'm sure Jeff Gordon looking ahead at that 18 car saying, man, if I was on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's still got time.
Yeah, Gordon's running laps that are comparable to what Denny Hamlin's running as the race leader. Which is amazing. Think where that race car was. I mean, we saw hands moving around in there. The car sideways, couldn't get it to do what he wanted in the middle, which made it terrible off. Nice adjustment that that crew's made on this race car.
It was just lap 130 when he went a lap down. 11th place here, Brad Keselowski in the 2, Greg Biffle in the 16. Biff going to pick up a spot. Richmond has statistically not been the best track for Biffle, talking to his crew chief Matt Pusha in the garage yesterday. And he hit on a theme we've heard from a number of teams that already have locked in a place in the chase. Trying a setup here they hope might find them something for the race at New Hampshire, second into the chase.
As they go to New Hampshire, you're looking at less than 10 degrees of banking up there that you race on. This only has 14 degrees of banking, so there are some similarities, some things that you can do. Tight corners, just like we have here, especially in turns 1 and 2. So seeing if they can learn some things that's going to help them try to win a championship.
129 laps to go. Denny Hamlin is a full second ahead of Casey Kane and in some pretty heavy lap traffic. We're back to Richmond after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Richmond, a change of events and a change of situations. Here in the Federated Auto Parts 400, caution flag for rain just came out. Jeff Gordon got the free pass. Some of the lead lap cars have pitted, some have not. You look at those coming off the pit lane who did stop.
Well, these are the gamblers that think it's going to go back green, so they're going to get the fresh tires on their car, and if it does, they'll start in front of the other cars if they make a late pit stop.
And the guys who did not pit, Hamlin 11, Kane 5, Truex 56, Kevin Harvick in 29, Jimmy Johnson in 48, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 88, and Kyle Busch in the 18. Doc?
99, Carl Edwards saying the car needs to turn better in the corners. They've made progress though in the car throughout the race. He's come from 2 laps down after short pitting to be a lap down now, less than 15 seconds. Vince.
24, Jeff Gordon just needs more drive off. We've heard that from Gordon throughout the course of the night tonight. They thought they were getting better on it, but still needs more. They're going down around on the track bar in 4 tires.
All right, so Jeff Gordon gets back on the lead lap.
I'll tell you, it's big right there. He's on the lead lap, got 4 tires, and if it goes back green, those leaders will make a stop before they go green. He'll start in front of them. All of those cars that stayed out.
But there's the rub.
Oh, gosh, that's right.
If he has to.
Well, no, but he just got the lucky dog.
Right, he's going to start in the back.
He can't start in front of him.
Right. But if it goes green.
Yeah.
We are under caution for rain. They haven't lost the track yet. They're staying out. But we'll see.
Rain beating down, darling gray.
Going back racing in one more lap, Vince.
Denny Hamlin, they contemplated coming when the rain started to fall, decided not to, but now they come right before we go back green. It's a 4-tire change. Dave?
4-tire change for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wedge adjustment for him. Actually, track bar. They wanted track bar up a little too loose at the start, so I think they put the track bar down.
Coming to the green, Casey Kane will be the leader. First off the pit lane with fresh tires, Matt Kenseth in that 17. Denny Hamlin, who's been the dominant driver and car on the night, is going to be back 15th in line.
It can't rain now. I got to see how this plays out.
Watch that blue and white 17 car on the fresh rubber. Kenseth going for second under Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, that 14 car's got fresh tires too.
And Ryan Newman with fresh tires.
Wow.
Needing a win to get into the chase.
You're right, it can't rain now. We got to see how this is going to play out. Look here, Matt Kenseth on the inside of Casey Kane for the lead.
Three wide for the lead. Stewart to the bottom.
3 wide, you're bottom. 2 wide with Matt. Clear, you're the leader.
Tony Stewart out in front.
Yeah, remember the last time we saw these two racing for the lead was at Bristol. That didn't turn out too good.
Yeah, they wound up smoking against the inside wall with wrecked race cars.
Look at Burton making a pass on Kenseth.
The whole running order at the front of this race turned around by that caution flag for rain. Some of the leaders afraid to come to pit road in case the race didn't restart. And who can blame them? Some of the others who had nothing to lose came in, put the fresh Goodyears on, and they've rocketed to the front. Jeff Burton to second. Here's Ryan Newman, 39, looking on Kenseth for third.
Boy, these drivers that stayed out, especially some that are falling further and further back. 56 of Martin Truex, the 18 of Kyle Busch, really falling off the pace. They're in desperate need of a caution.
Kyle Busch back to 17th place, Vince.
Yeah, and he's really disappointed because he wanted to pit. Dave Rogers wanted to gamble and stay out. They talked about it, maybe even a little miscommunication there. But you see the result. Kyle Busch going backwards.
Right now, basically looking like he's just trying to keep from getting wrecked.
And that's been questionable a couple of times, but I tell you, at the pace that Kyle Busch is running right now, this goes green for a while, he's going to be in trouble, in serious trouble about getting a lap down, and Jeff Gordon's got his car still going forward once again. Gordon's almost to the top 10.
He's in 11th place right now. Remember, Gordon needs to get ahead of Kyle by about 13 spots on the racetrack for that to have an effect on that final place in the chase.
The numbers I'm looking at is they need 6 more spots between them from where they are right now.
There's Clint Boyer by Matt Kenseth. That's for 5th place. Mark Martin, 55, looking for a spot on the 17. It's Stewart leading, Burton second, Newman third, Keselowski fourth, and a challenge for second as Newman looks underneath Jeff Burton and gets that spot.
Okay, now the only thing standing in the way of Ryan Newman getting in the chase is his boss, Tony Stewart.
Yeah, had 109 laps, but
I'm talking about at this moment.
Wow. The only chance to get in for Ryan Newman is to win this race. You're talking about some of the guys that slipped back a little bit. Casey Kane has fallen to 12th position. Truex Jr. to 15th. And the whole Tony Stewart running first, having a place in the chase secured, and Ryan Newman running second and needing to win, Shannon. Kind of intriguing.
Well, Alan, I did ask Steve Addington Hamilton today about team orders. It's something we've talked about, and a potential team order if Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart were running 1-2. He told me best case scenario, Ryan wins and Tony would run second. And I asked him what we would see towards the end of the race if these guys were 1-2. If Tony would maybe let it happen. He said that is Tony's decision inside the race car. He will make that decision when it comes down to the end of the race. Vince.
And as it relates to the 39 of Ryan Newman, of course, as Shannon just explained, you got to win to get in. Tony Gibson, the crew chief for Ryan Newman, told me tonight, we'd wreck our mama to get in this one tonight. Well, he might not have to wreck mama, but his boss is right in front of him.
Oh, the plot thickens, and we've still got a quarter of the race to go, and we've still got a bunch of that green garbage on the radar around us, too.
I tell you, you're good. Ryan Newman's catching Tony Stewart. And Tony might have to move out of the way, let him go to keep him from getting wrecked. Because I think Newman would probably take his boss out here if he had to.
Have not been with us through the course of the long evening. Ryan Newman got a lap down, got a free pass, at a caution for rain at lap 137 to get back on the lead lap. And now is trying to get to the lead after the exchange of pit strategy has played in his favor.
They're running almost identical lap times. That time right there, it looked like Newman was a little bit quicker. Well, he's getting there. He's looking at that back bumper. Look at him. And you don't know about this weather. That's the other thing. You don't know if
you don't know what's going to happen
next lap or not.
Closing. And going by for the race lead.
Now, Tony didn't make it too hard on him, but I really believe Ryan's got the best car right now. I don't think he let him go. I don't think he made it hard for him to make the pass.
Well, at this point in time, there's still a lot of racing to go unless the rain does come. Tony Stewart is locked in here. This would be the situation that would benefit this organization more than anything else.
So Newman is the leader. It is now when his crew chief, Tony Gibson, starts seeing a lot of rain and yelling from the top of that pit box.
I'll guarantee you they're feeling rain down there. They better look in the mirror because Clint Boyer's coming in a hurry. It wasn't very long ago that he was spinning out coming off of turn 4 because of a cut tire. Everything's worked out for him. He's got tires. He's coming back forward once again.
Jeff Burton, 31. Brad Kozlowski, 2. Mark Martin, 55. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Jeff Gordon now back on the lead lap, taking 9th place from Sam Hornish. And I know you haven't seen him in a little while, but Denny Hamlin, who gave up the lead to pit just before the restart and took the green flag in 15th place, Hamlin has only made his way up to 12th.
Yeah, he was put in a tough spot right there when that rain came. Didn't know how long it was going to last. He stayed out, then he made that stop late. Casey Kane stayed on the track, and he's already behind the 11. He's lost even more ground.
I have to wonder if Denny Hamlin might be saving a little bit of fuel right now, thinking this thing could go green to the end and may be close, and some of these other guys may not be able to make it. I just believe his car is stronger than that. Dale Jr.'s actually passed him and moved further forward since they made those stops.
Well, we've just crossed the 3/4 mark of this race. Will it see the full 400 lap distance? Will Mother Nature intervene again? The picture's changed a lot in the last little while. Don't leave us now. We're back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, the picture's changed again here at Richmond International Raceway. Ryan Newman, who must win this race, has just been overtaken by Clint Bowyer for the top spot. Bowyer passing both Stewart and Ryan Newman in these last several laps around.
Yeah, I thought Tony Stewart for that second spot may be able to hold Boyer back there for a while, but he couldn't do it, and neither could Ryan Newman whenever Boyer decided he wanted the lead.
I'll tell you what this does, though. It shows now with Boyer leading this thing, Jeff Gordon has driven all the way to 6th place, one of the fastest, if not the fastest car on the racetrack right now, and he's only 2 points behind the 18 as they run.
Jeff Gordon running in that number 6.
Gas, we can rest away.
That was Clint Boyer's radio. Jeff Gordon running in 5th position now, and Kyle Busch in 15th.
You see Gordon now catching Mark Martin. That'll be 1 spot. I tell you, he's flying right now. I don't know what they did to that car, but it is on the way.
So, 84 laps to go. Still the possibility of threatening weather in the area, but Clint Boyer is out in front of this race after being sideways with a flat tire and spinning out at lap 234, Dave.
Yeah, the adjustment to get him to this, Alan, was very subtle. On the run before the rains came, he just said a little too loose, and the adjustment they made just a small track bar adjustment, but it was the right one, and he's driven to the front from the 10th place restart position.
So Boyer with that much of a gap on Ryan Newman, 1st to 2nd. Tony Stewart, 14 3rd. Mark Martin, 55 4th. And with this latest turn of events, Kyle Busch's team not calling him to pit road and counting on the rain at the last caution. Jeff Gordon getting a free pass and having nothing to lose. Now it's just a single point for that last place in the chase between Gordon and Kyle Busch. 1 position on the racetrack, either way. Actually 2, because Kyle owns the tiebreaker over Jeff Gordon.
Right now, Gordon's thinking about winning this thing. He's looking at Mark. Mark's the fastest car last lap. They're both catching the leader, Clint Boyer, at this point.
What a turn of events.
Jeff Gordon's about a quarter of a second faster than Clint Boyer last lap.
Jimmy Johnson about to go a lap down with Kyle Busch just in front of him. Johnson, one of the cars up in the top 5 a little while ago, Doc.
Yeah, AB, and the tires are just gone for Jimmy Johnson. They really wanted him to pit. When Denny Hamlin came down pit road, it was a miscommunication. I don't think Jimmy heard him quick enough. He was already past pit entrance. And now, as the 15 pulls on the inside, Boyer will put him a lap down. And they're probably about 10 or 12 laps away from making a stop. Probably come in pretty soon now and go ahead and top off their final stop. But Johnson now going a lap down after being a contender about 70 laps ago.
And Andy, such a tough spot for these crew chiefs to be in, with that radar being all full of ugly green stuff, and you've got an up front running spot and a great car in the race, and you don't know if it's going to continue. You don't want to throw away the top finish, and then the race goes back to green at a place where tires mean a lot of speed.
It was a gamble either way. I mean, it was a gamble to stay out. It was a gamble for those other guys to come in. That's just paying off for the guys that pitted right now.
Casey Kane headed for pit road. As he goes a lap down to Clint Boyer, here's Kyle Busch being overtaken by the race leader. We'll probably see this 18 in pretty quickly too, don't you think?
Yeah, he'll probably stay in this spot, this lucky dog spot, just long enough in case the caution does come out. Casey Kane's in, Shannon.
Yeah, Casey Kane stayed out on that last pit stop lap 281 right around there. So no rear grip continues to be the story for this 5 team. They're going to continue to work on air pressure for Casey Kane.
Martin Truex Jr., 56, stopped for fresh tires a little while ago. You see how quickly he's slicing up through some of the race leaders.
Yeah, Tony Stewart just took 2nd place back from Ryan Newman.
This is kind of the time that we've seen Tony Stewart's car really come to life when others start giving up some speed. Tony's doesn't do that. So let's see if he can run back to the 15 car and retake this lead.
Jimmy Johnson, green flag pit stop, headed back out onto the track. And 74 laps yet to be run.
Martin's car really come alive. Yeah, saw Jeff Gordon run right up to the bumper Mark, but then Mark actually pulled back away from Jeff, as you can see here. Now he's past Ryan Newman for third.
And I'm thinking about, Andy, Kyle Busch's team. Now they're kind of in a box. They were riding out there trying to stay on the lead lap. Now they're a lap down. They haven't pitted right away. If they pit now, they're going to lose 2 more laps.
Yeah, they're in a bad spot. That's why I say the best thing for them to do is to stay out right now while they're still in that lucky dog position. They can get this lap back.
But man, how tough is it him seeing the 24 go by him right now?
Oh, painful. They're tied in points right now as they run.
Yeah, he had this well in hand, it looked like, that Gordon was struggling. Even though Kyle wasn't happy with his car, he was in plenty good position, and then everything changed.
Yeah, now he's getting to watch Jeff Gordon make up another spot, which actually puts him in position for that last wild card position if it ends like it is now.
Well, sort of, because Gordon is actually ahead of Casey Kane on points, but Kane still has the 2 wins. So Gordon still needs to pass somebody else to get ahead of Kyle Busch on points.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he needs 2 more spots on between him and Kyle to get there.
Watch that, Charles Gordon was on Mark Martin's bumper a while ago, and Andy, you pointed out Mark Martin flying up through here right now. He is almost up to the back bumper of Tony Stewart in that second spot.
Mark, one of the crowd that pitted at lap 277, so still a while before we'll see those guys needing to come back to pit road. And if this race runs under the green flag for a while, that choice not to pit a while ago is really going to prove costly for some of these other guys who stayed out. What a change in pictures. Jeff Gordon running in 4th. Kyle Busch now a lap down in 14th place.
We got the pit, bud. What do you need? I don't care. Just gonna ride it out until we lose the lucky dog spot.
Yes, Dave Rogers telling him just exactly what we're talking about, that he just has to ride this out. I know it's not fun, and that's what he's got to do right now.
It's going to be a little ways before the next car.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick is the next car.
Coming 4800, smooth on.
And he is, but Kyle Busch is coming now.
He's not going to ride it out. He was in that lucky dog spot when he made that move to pit road.
Well, crucial moment in his hopes for the chase for Kyle Busch, Vince.
Well, it's so frustrating. You heard the tone on Kyle's voice, how frustrated he must be at this point. Same said for Dave Rogers. 4 tire change, also a chassis adjustment for the 18 of Kyle Busch, but a lot of ground to make up. Now they've got a problem on the right side also.
Go back to the right rear.
Got to go back to the right rear. Didn't get a lug nut on. They got to hit it again.
Ouch. Sam Hornish Jr. also on pit road as the leader, Clint Boyer, comes by Kyle Busch. That'll be for a 3rd lap down. Busch with the fresher tires should be able to get that 3rd lap back pretty quickly.
Yeah, he'll line up right behind Clint, and he should be able to drive right back by him. But see, a lot of pressure on this team right now.
There's Hornish. I mentioned him on pit lane. Nice drive tonight for Sam.
He's done a terrific job in this car since they put him in it, really, but really a solid run tonight.
Kyle will get 1 of his 3 laps that he's down to the race leader, Clint Boyer, back. Brad Keselowski in for a green flag stop.
The final pit stop for Brad K. Going to make a major chance to Jeff. And Brad said just no left rear grip at all, trying to get in the corner and get all 4 tires. He said the car is so loose trying to get in, and he also can't get back on the throttle. Chassis adjustment, air pressure, and he's away.
Of the guys who stayed out on that last caution, looking Kevin Harvick, and I think he's about the only one that hasn't pitted yet in this cycle.
Denny Hamlin's had the best car all night. He's finally made his way up down the top 5 after getting tires and starting really far in the back on that restart.
Still does have the best car. Now he's making it shown once again. He just methodically worked his way up, just let his tires come, didn't abuse his tires. I guess his question will be fuel-wise probably as we get towards the end here.
Yeah, he was in a position to save a lot of fuel there for a while he was kind of riding in the back. I don't know if he saved enough or not.
It's quite a stretch.
Yeah, it would be a stretch for him to make it.
From 281 to 400? Yep. So Jeff Gordon back to 5th.
I think Gordon used up a lot of car while he was trying to get up front, not knowing if it was going to rain again. He was very aggressive, and I think he might be paying the price at this point in the run, too. Same with Mark Martin. I think his drive to the front has kind of stalled a little bit.
Jeff running right now in that second wild card spot ahead of Kyle Busch as they run, but Vince, a lot still left to unfold.
That's right, and as good as Gordon's car has been on this run, it's starting to go away a little bit. He said it's a little loose in and it's too loose off, so still looking for a little more drive off for Jeff Gordon.
Last pit stop for the 24 at lap 278. And that's the championship picture as we have 57 laps to go, a 1-minute commercial break from our ABC stations. Then it's back to Richmond for the finish. What a night for Jeff Gordon. From starting on the front row to struggling in the first half of this race.
It's been a handful. We're working on it. We'll just keep going until the race is over and get everything we can out of it. But, yeah, we missed it. It's unfortunate, but a lot of racing left to go.
Well, it's a good thing for Jeff that they did keep after it and that there was a lot of racing left to go, because that 24 car, after the adjustments they've made, has come alive. And Gordon has run up into the top 5 and is currently in position to have a place in the chase, but yet with 52 laps still to go. Jeff, our Goodyear superior performer on the night. Determination, perseverance, and an awful lot of gutting it out. Carl Edwards in. Doc?
Final pit stop for Carl, hoping to get in the chase. Not going to happen tonight. Got a couple laps down early for the early pit. Left side tires going on right side chassis adjustment. Carl still trying to get the car to get up off the corner.
Mark Martin also on and off pit road. Actually missed pit road on his first attempt at it.
Yeah, he got in there a little bit hot. He had some traffic behind him and was trying to get cut down. Couldn't do it. Had to go an extra lap. It's going to cost him some time.
When will we see this man, Clint Boyer, in on the pit lane? What we're setting up for, if this race stays green for the finish, is a series of people being on different pit stop schedules and how that all comes together between speed on aging tires, speed on fresher tires, and how the pit stops come together to reform the running order for the sprint to the finish.
And the possibility that one car may have enough fuel to make it to the end.
That one car being?
Well, we heard earlier that 15 car, Clint Boyer, heard his crew chief say if he could save him some fuel, that they could make it. If he could save, I think it was a couple of laps. I can't remember exactly how many he said, but there was a possibility they could do it.
And Denny Hamlin now running in third position in the 11 car. Stopped about 4 laps later than all of those drivers. So if the 15 thinks they can make it,
then maybe he can, yeah.
Maybe he can. 14 Tony Stewart in second, and Denny Hamlin there in third. Hamlin dominant on the night for most of it. Led 202 of the 352 laps that have been completed. Stayed on the track when the caution came out for rain, when some of these other guys that have been leading stopped, pitted just before the restart, went back to 15th place, and has methodically chipped his way forward through the running field. Clint Boyer. Does he have the fuel to go 47 more laps, Dave?
Alan, here was his radio about 15 laps ago.
Save me some? Yeah, quite a bit. 10-4. I'll let you go here. About 30 more laps. 57, 70 out back. You're about 15 back to the 5. Just came off pit road about 5-6 laps ago.
All right, they've been monitoring his speed. 30 more laps would have taken him to lap 370, and we're still trying to, I mean, that's way short. So I think that means he was going to let him go at that point because he did save fuel. Doc?
8th place car, Kevin Harvick. Final pit stop for Harvick. He's in the chase. Chassis adjustment, right rear, left rear, air pressure, fuel, clean the grill, and he's gone.
Well, for Clint Boyer, you think about this night, already got a spot in the chase. What's up for grabs for them? Bonus points for the reseeding.
Oh, yeah, it's a great gamble for them. And you got to stick with this. Once you decide, okay, this is what we're going to do, you got to stick with it because if you know you can't make it, you're going to be 2 or 3 laps short. You got to go ahead and make the stop pretty quick because you'll lose so much time on not getting those fresh tires earlier.
And he's actually been able to save some more fuel here as some of these cars with fresh tires got around him. He was able to back out, let them go, so he's actually saving a little bit more, maybe in better shape.
I think somebody else saving fuel is Denny Hamlin. I've watched his lap times, and he looked like he had a fast enough car to run up here and take the lead, but then all of a sudden that gap kind of stabilized. I don't know if he's trying to save a little fuel.
Yeah, I think he was doing a lot of that at the beginning of this run too, back whenever we went back green flag race, because he took a long time to work his way through the field, and he's got a better car, or a good enough car, that he could have really gotten through there a lot quicker.
Key moment here between Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch. Gordon on pit road for a green flag stop with 42 to go, Vince.
Remember, we told you just a short while ago that Gordon was a little loose in and needed better drive off. They're going to make a track bar adjustment for Jeff, give him 4 fresh tires and enough fuel, take him to the end.
Jeff evidently one of the cars that could not make it on fuel, so he has to get in here and get these fresh tires and try to just get out there and make up time.
Remember that if one of the one-win drivers does not win the race, Kyle Busch had a lead over Jeff Gordon in points to start the night of 12. So Jeff has to finish at least 13 spots ahead of Kyle Busch if none of the one-win drivers in that wild card hunt scores the victory tonight. Ryan Newman back on the pit lane for his final stop, Vince.
Newman led laps tonight for the first time since Martinsville when he won in April. He needed to win tonight and then get a little help if he's going to make the chase. Nearing the end, it's another chassis adjustment. They've been trying to free him up in the middle so he can roll that center a little better and get the drive off, along with 4 fresh tires for the 39 of Newman.
Kevin Harvick on fresh tires, rocketing by leader Clint Boyer. Tony Stewart in for a stop here. 38 to go, Shannon.
Tony Stewart gives up second to come down tight in the center of the pole. He says the car feels a little wedged up. They are going to make a chassis adjustment, and it's going to be 4 tires for Tony Stewart. Alan?
So it's Clint Boyer and Denny Hamlin. Are they going to the end?
Pretty sure that 15 is going.
He may be, and I think Denny Hamlin slowed down quite a bit trying to ensure that he's going to be able to make it too. He's really a lot slower now than what he was. Boyer's pulled back ahead almost 5 seconds.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's at least a second off of what I've seen him run here lately.
There are only 4 cars on the lead lap. Boyer, Hamlin, Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's it. With Jeff Gordon's pit stop, Kyle Busch has moved back ahead of him, barely, for that second wild card spot. And will fuel mileage shuffle the running order up again before we get to lap 400?
I've been watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. with his car some. He's really struggling with the handling of it. Obviously, that's not what it's about right now. It's about having enough fuel to get to the end.
Smoke boiling from Greg Biffle's car as he locks the brakes coming to the pit lane. Biffle was running in 3rd coming to this stop. Dave?
Yep, this is Greg Biffle's final stop right now. Mostly the car has been loose lately, but it's been pretty well balanced since the beginning of the race. He'll get his 4 fresh tires. The Biff, who's going to go into the chase with a pretty good spot in the points. In fact, I think he's leading as they ran earlier tonight. So a good night for the Biff.
Not going to get the win tonight, it doesn't appear. but perhaps they learned that's something they were looking for on this night that'll help them in the New Hampshire race. Second in the chase.
There goes Mark Martin to get back on the lead lap.
By Clint Boyer.
That's the 5th spot that you see the 55 car running in. There's 5 cars on the lead lap, and Boyer staying out here stretching his fuel.
Boyer and Hamlin. Earnhardt Jr. and Keselowski ahead of Mark Martin. There's Jeff Gordon running just ahead of Denny Hamlin there. Gordon is running in 9th position. And Kyle Busch is running in 18th.
The next spot for Jeff Gordon is at 22 ahead of him. And there's only 2-point separation now between the 18 and the 24 cars.
There's Kyle.
Kyle's still running 2 laps down.
Jeff needs to continue to pass cars.
Yeah, and obviously plenty fast enough to pass these cars that he's coming up on. He done it earlier.
He just got by Hornish. The next one is a 31 car of Jeff Burton.
He's got to get by everybody that's a lap down, basically. He's got to get by Burton, and he's got to track down Matt Kenseth. And Kenseth is running a good almost a quarter lap ahead of Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key spot for him right now. I don't think that Kyle Busch is going to lose any more spots from where he is. So Jeff will have to gain. He'll have to pass this 31 and one more.
Boy, look at Gordon. He knows he's got to go. Coming through.
And as he goes by Jeff Burton, he's going to go by Kyle Busch also.
Well, those brake rotors are glowing red on that 18 car. The car's not doing what he wants.
Can you imagine the nerves on top of that pit box? In the
On both
18
of
pit.
them. Both of them.
Look out. Tony Stewart with the big run on fresh tires there. And Kyle with the what gives wave out the window.
I tell you, talk about Kyle not losing another spot. With all of these cars with fresher tires and stuff, he's losing so much time. Marcus Ambrose is the car behind him, and he is catching Kyle Busch. He's still about a half a straightaway back right now.
Yeah, it was almost a half a lap earlier. Now they're on the same straightaway.
Tension. Tension, tension. As we come to the final 25 laps. When you're the queen of the charts, there's always someone looking to replace you. The riveting new drama from the writer of Thelma and Louise, ABC's Nashville. The drama begins Wednesday, October 10th. Nice write-up on that show in USA Today yesterday morning. Calling it one of the best news shows of the upcoming season. So Jeff Gordon by the leader Clint Boyer to get back on the lead lap. Tony Stewart trying to do the same.
Nice and easy, man. Just keep that up. 55. This is stupid. 67 out back.
Brian Patty talking to Clint Boyer.
Yeah, they've got a 9-second lead over the 11. Now, that's a great thing that they can use. They can use this big lead to really save some fuel if they need to.
Again, believing both Boyer and Denny Hamlin are on an economy run, trying to stretch their fuel from pit stops at lap 277 to 281 respectively to the lap 400 conclusion that it certainly looks, despite the ugliness on the weather radar around us, that we're going to reach. Knock on wood. There's the gap. Now, Brian Patty thinks that trying to manage this whole race setup, strategy, and situation is, and I'll quote him, stupid. Imagine what it's like for Denny Hamlin behind the wheel.
Yeah, he has to save fuel too, and he can't make a run up there at Boyer. He's just hoping Boyer runs out of gas, and he doesn't.
Fastest car last lap on the track, 24. Jeff Gordon picking up 5th position from Brad Keselowski.
And that right there, I believe, puts Gordon into that transfer spot.
Actually, I think it tied. They're tied for points as they run with that pass. And now, yeah, it does put him a point ahead.
wild.
Oh, my goodness.
What a night this has been. You know, most of the time when a car is as bad as what Jeff Gordon's was, and you could tell how dejected he was when we had the rain delay and Vince was trying to get a word or two with him. He just felt like that his night and his season was gone out from under him. You can't usually change a car that much, Andy, to make an adjustment.
I could not believe. I said, well, they'll need, I think I said a silver bullet to fix it. They found one, and it fixed this car. You got to hand it to Alan Gustafson, I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, handed him. And Jeff Gordon is vintage Jeff Gordon when they got this thing fixed. He has been passing cars wherever he caught them.
But that one precarious point that Jeff Gordon has over Kyle Busch.
Gotta go hard as you can, bud. Hard as you can. 19 to go.
He's got Tony Stewart closing.
Well, you know, they do get their chassis and their engines from the same place.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on pit road with 18 laps to go.
And I'm looking at that 9 car. He's closing in on that 18 car Kyle Busch, too. That's another spot the other way.
The way they pitted before that green came out, or as the green came out, basically, he had 4 more laps fuel than Clint Boyer did, but they weren't on the same strategy. So Junior will need fuel to get to the end. 4 tires, no changes.
See Gordon on the right side there getting another spot from Matt Kenseth.
Yep. I say Tony's coming, but he did make up a spot on Kenseth.
More importantly, he made up a spot on Kyle Busch. Kyle didn't move forward. Jeff Gordon did. Not missing anything up front. Clint Boyer still with an 11-second lead on Denny Hamlin as both Boyer and Hamlin try and stretch the fuel to the finish of this race. The oh-so-tense race for that second wild card spot. The last place in the chase between Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch. Mere points. Mere .1 between them at the moment as Gordon runs in 4th position and Kyle Busch runs back in 16th.
Jeff Gordon's fastest car on the racetrack right now. He's trying to get every spot he can get. Not much really Kyle can do, but just try to maintain.
Yeah, and it's not out of the question for Jeff Gordon to finish second in this race. Denny Hamlin slowed way down. Mark Martin's almost to him, and Jeff Gordon's running faster than Mark Martin, only about 15 car lengths back.
And if those cars can't make it on fuel, puts Jeff in the catbird seat.
Could win the race if circumstances present.
He's a full half lap behind Clint Boyer, but if he runs out of fuel, that doesn't matter.
13 laps to go. Second place, Mark Martin, 55 by Denny Hamlin. Can Mark slide in and score a win? What's been a dry spell for a while for Mark. And there's Jeff.
Gordon's going to get beside Hamlin down into turn 1 and take that 3rd spot away.
Now 2 points. 2 points between Gordon and Kyle Busch for the second wild card. Casey Kane is running in 13th spot. Tony Stewart is running in 5th. Stewart in position to lock up the 10th and final position where those bonus points for wins would count. Kane in position to clinch the first of the 2 wild cards with his 2 victories this season.
Kyle Busch just picked up another spot from Martin Truex, though. So that's helping him.
Next ahead for Kyle Busch would be Jimmy Johnson to try and pass.
That might be tough. He's a ways behind him to start with. Jimmy Johnson at the start-finish line now. Now Kyle Busch just coming off of turn 4.
So Clint Boyer, 7.8 seconds ahead of Mark Martin.
8-second lead last time, 9 to go.
Trying to stretch the fuel to the finish.
He's giving Clint Boyer that information he needs. He's got that 9-second lead, or 7-second lead actually now, that he can give up a little bit.
Yeah, that thing better not cough any at all, though, or Mark Martin will be there. And Jeff Gordon.
123 laps. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. If they've got the numbers to say they can do it, if they save some fuel.
Denny Hamlin to pit.
8 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin comes in. Vince?
They had him back down on the RPMs. They tried to save enough fuel to make it to the end, but it just did not work for Denny Hamlin tonight as he was seeking to win his 3rd straight Sprint Cup Series race. Coming in, they're going to put those tires on and, of course, just get him enough fuel to get to the end. 4-tire change for Denny Hamlin. He's had the dominant car tonight, but he's not going to be the guy that goes to victory lane here at Richmond this evening.
And while Vince called the Hamlin stop, you saw Jeff Gordon with a bold and aggressive move to get 2nd place away from Mark Martin.
Wow, Mark spun the tires coming off of turn 4, and that gave Gordon a big run, and he used up side of Mark Martin's car, but that's what he had to do.
Okay, now can Clint Boyer make it on fuel?
And if he runs out, the 2nd win for Gordon will clinch that place in the chase. If he runs out. There's Boyer. Gordon 5.6 seconds behind him. Kyle Busch 14th.
5-second lead. You're doing good. It's perfect. Perfect.
And Kyle Busch nowhere near passing Jimmy Johnson to overtake him for the next spot forward in line.
Hey, a key pass right there was that 11 car made that stop, and Kyle Busch got by him for position.
The 9 cars beside Kyle Busch right now for a spot. He's going to get tight. 3 wide down into the corner.
Oh, look out. Dale Jr. is also for a position on the 18 car. Greg Biffle was not. Biffle is on the lead lap.
Only 3 to go.
And Denny Hamlin on the freshest tires of all these cars. Right through the middle, 3 wide for Hamlin. Up front, Clint Boyer's going to see the white flag this time by. Does he have enough fuel to make the finish? Jeff Gordon is close to 2.7 seconds. If the 15 hiccups, can Gordon get by for the win? 3/4 of a mile to go for Clint Boyer. Gordon running 2nd. Kyle Busch running in 15th.
2-second lead, bud. 2-second lead.
Under power to turn 3. He's going to have enough fuel to make it. Checkered flag and the win to Clint Boyer. Jeff Gordon finishes 2nd and races his way into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Wow.
That was an incredible turnaround for that 24 team.
And I can't believe Clint Boyer was able to run that hard, lead that much of the race, and save the fuel the way that he did to get his 2nd win of the year.
Great effort. We made it by 1 point. We're in the chase.
What a night at Richmond. What a remarkable turn of events in the late night hours of a Saturday night and early Sunday morning.
We knew this race was going to have drama. We knew it was going to have so much at stake. But boy, I couldn't imagine it turning out like it did tonight. I mean, Clint Boyer crashed, left rear tire flat. Looked like he was out of it.
Think about Jeff Gordon have rain being his friend twice this year.
That's right. He got his lap back.
And he needed had a rain shower here that halted the race and got him his lap back.
Well, it's got to be bitter, bitter, bitter for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, there's a coach. Have a few words for Kyle before he gets out.
Carl Edwards nipped Kyle Busch at the line, so Kyle finished in 16th position. In the unofficial final rundown, Jeff Gordon finished second, and Gordon is going to get that second place in the chase, barely over Kyle Busch. Well, Vince, when you talk with Jeff Gordon during the rain delay, he was not a happy camper. I'll bet it's a little bit different mood right now.
As disappointed as he was a week ago, he's that joyous tonight. Alan Gustafson came over the radio at the end and said, never quit. And you guys never quit tonight. What a perseverance. Yeah, great effort. How'd you guys do it?
Thank you. As disappointed as I was about an hour and a half ago, or however long ago you spoke to me, I was deflated. I felt like this weekend has gone amazing, and I knew we had a good race car. And to go backwards like that was really frustrating, but man, that was an awesome effort. I tell you what, I'm so fired up to get this chase started. I don't care, where we're going to start points. We're in it. I got to thank Chase Credit Card Services and all they're doing for our Drive to End Hunger. It's just such an awesome program. Chevrolet, DuPont, Pepsi, Quaker State. Man, that was so much fun there at the end to be able to drive up through there. They did it. I mean, Alan is such a great crew chief, and he never gave up. He kept me fired up. This whole team, we never, got out of it as bad as it looked, and we made this car good enough to go up there and run up front and almost win the thing. That was amazing.
Jeff Gordon is in the chase. Shannon?
Well, Vince, that means Kyle Busch 1 point out of the chase. You guys knew that this was going to come down to the very, very last lap. Your thoughts on the night, Kyle?
We missed. That's it. Plain and simple.
I saw Joe Gibbs lean in and say something to you. What did he say?
Handle it the right way. There's no right way to handle the situation.
Thanks, Kyle.
Well, Casey Kane drove his 5 car into the chase. Casey, congratulations. What's the mindset now with you and this team? Not the momentum you wanted, but a lot of smiles about being in the chase.
No, I think the big thing is we made the chase. We came from a long ways back, thanks to HendrickCars.com, Rockwell Tools, Quaker State, Farmers Insurance. All the guys have been a huge supporter of ours this year in Chevrolet, and so I mean that feels really good. Tonight we had a car that was capable of running second to Denny probably, and first if we could get it a little better there, and just we took a chance to stay out. It backfired on us, but it actually helped Jeff make the chase. So it's great for Hendrick Motorsports. Our engine ran awesome, and all the HMS cars are in the chase, and they rebounded from a ways back tonight. So it was a big night for them, and I'm just happy we're all in.
Well done by Casey Kane. Vince?
With Brad Keselowski, who is in the chase, congratulations. What kind of momentum do you feel like you guys are taking into these next 10 weeks?
A lot. If we repeat the last 10 weeks, we'd be in great shape in the chase, but got our work cut out for us. Got a lot of great teams, but the Miller Lite Dodge and everyone at Penske Racing's done a great job as well. So, man, I'm just excited to get going next week in Chicago and proud of where we're at this season.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Clint Boyer's in victory lane, but his car's not. Congratulations, you finally ran it out of gas.
Man, I tell you, last couple times we've walked in, Sonoma ran it out of gas doing a burnout too. Just, thank you to these fans. It's late at night. They stuck it out with us, went through the weather just with all of us. Unbelievable. Thank you, Juan Pablo, for wrecking me and then winning me the race. Thank you. Unbelievable for 5 Hour Energy, all of our partners, Sprint, for putting us on to win, this last race before this chase cut off. We had a bad race last weekend, had a lot of adversity we had to bounce through. Just kind of bummed out as a team, as a whole, coming into this race. It's a good way to get things bounced back headed into this chase. You can't ask for a better race team. MWR, my teammates, everybody that's a part of this is just, it's unbelievable.
Clint rolls into the chase with 2 wins. Shannon?
Tony Stewart seated 3rd once this chase gets underway next week. Last year you set the standard for chase performances. How does this run tonight set you guys up for the next 10 weeks?
I'm really proud of our team. I think we probably gained the most from yesterday today. So, it just came up short, but real proud of the effort from the guys. They did an awesome job tonight.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.
Doc?
Jimmy Johnson, typically when the lights come on with the chase, you guys are geared up to go win a championship. How confident are you that championship number 6 starts next week at Chicago?
I feel good about it. I mean,
These last 3 weeks, we haven't had the best performances. We've been running well, but had some different issues take place. Tonight, I missed pit road. It was kind of a late thing, and we got off sequence, and luckily rallied back to a decent finish. But the tracks in the chase are really good for this 48 team. I won a lot of races at the 10 tracks, really probably 8 of the tracks in the chase. We're looking forward to it. Tonight's been a long night. I'm glad we got this in. I'm really happy. It looks like all 4 of my Hendrick teammates, or 3 of my Hendrick teammates are in the chase. So very happy about that, and look forward to Slow Chevrolet being awfully fast in the chase.
5-time, hoping to be 6-time this year. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. So the final 2 places in the chase tonight came down to a crazy turn of events, and there are the 2 drivers who will claim the wild cards. Casey Kane, who had a pretty good shot starting the night with his 2 wins on this year, and Jeff Gordon, who winds up getting in by 3 points, 3 positions on the racetrack anywhere during the season over Kyle Busch.
Yeah, what a great gutsy run out of that 24 team tonight. They showed a lot of poise, a lot of character. I think they're going to be a challenger for this championship.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Johnson might not be so happy he's in there before this is all over with, but just a great night and some great efforts. Mark Martin up there with a chance to win this thing. Jeff Burton, a great night. And Ryan Newman looked like he was going to try to race his way in by winning, and just made a great effort at it. What a fantastic race.
Man who dominated the night tonight, leading over half the race, did not get the finish he was hoping for tonight, but will start the chase as the top seed. Denny Hamlin is with Vince.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's seeing that picture right now. A little frustrated with not being able to go to victory lane tonight. But the momentum that you guys carry in with such a strong run this evening, and the 2 wins you had previously, 4 wins total, what kind of a attitude do you have as you look ahead to the next 10?
I'm going to try to be very positive this interview, but man, that's a tough one now when you have a car that's that fast and that dominant. And we once we made our bed to try to make it, then we had to save, back off, and then once 24 got around us, I mean, we were just another car between him and the 18. So we feel bad for our teammate. I know those guys worked really hard to try to make it, and it's just it's a tough day all around for JGR because they had obviously dominant car today, but this is something we can take into the chase because right now we're just our cars are lightning fast and we just got a good thing going.
Denny Hamlin, Alan.
So Denny with the top seed based on his 4 wins this year, and as they square off the points and then add those bonus points for number of wins, here's how they'll start the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup a week from tomorrow, actually a week from today, at Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, got to hand it to Denny Hamlin there on his interview. It was a tough night for him. Had the fastest car, like you said, but he does have a lot of good things to look forward to.
Yeah, and I can't look in there and say that any of these 12 drivers can't win this championship. This is going to be fun for 10 weeks.
Greg Biffle will start the chase as the number 5 seed, Dave.
Yeah, and he won the regular season, but he's behind on a couple of wins. What did you learn tonight that'll make you stronger in the chase, Greg?
Well, I'll tell you what, we actually ran really good here tonight. We haven't been that great in the past, and to finish 9th, and we really stayed out way too long on that one run, trying to catch a caution. So we're just experimenting a little bit, gambling, but we would have been in the top 5. So we're pretty excited about that. We learned a little bit, I think, and should help us at Loudon.
Good luck in the next few races.
Thank you.
Shannon?
6th chase appearance for Kevin Harvick, but more importantly, 2 back-to-back solid finishes for this team. How does this set you up for the next 10 races?
Well, it's been a good, really 3 weeks. Bristol, we just don't get the gas mileage that we need to get, and that showed up again here tonight. But all in all, our Budweiser Chevrolet was solid tonight. We didn't probably have a winning car. We probably had a 4th place car, but we kind of stayed out there for the rain, and then I knew that we had to have tires. I came down pit road, and those guys did a pit stop, not even knowing I was coming. So all in all, it was a solid night for us, like you said. The last 3 weeks have been really good, and we'll see what happens.
See you in Chicago.
Thanks.
Doc?
2 weeks in a row, Martin Truex Jr., woulda, shoulda, coulda. You had a car that could have been in victory lane, but now you're in the chase. What do you know about this team that'll tell you that you guys will be a factor in this championship?
Well, we got the speed, that's for sure. Our strong suit is going fast. Where we got to work on is pit strategy. But, we weren't the only ones that screwed that up tonight. So just in the wrong place at the wrong time there. And our radar on the pit box wasn't working when we got that little shower, and we weren't sure we weren't sure if it was going to rain or not, so we stayed out and we paid for it. But you know, that's the way it goes. We can hang our hat on the fact that our Napa Toyota has been really fast lately, and guys have done a good job making them fast. We just got to take advantage of it more often.
They're due for a win. Maybe it'll come into Chase. Vince?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 14th tonight. All 4 Hendrick cars make the chase. How good does it feel to be back in the chase?
It feels great. You know, we felt like we could do it all year long to make the chase, and we're pretty happy. We had a good run tonight. Steve, we're going to give Steve a lot of heck for gambling like he did at the end, but because I think we all wanted to pit, the whole team, but you know, he wanted to win the race outright, and that was our only shot. So I've had an awesome year. I want to thank everybody at Hendrick for all the hard work in the off season that got us to such a speed we've had this year. We're a much better program overall, a much better company this year, and all the guys at the shop really deserve all the credit. These cars are a lot of fun to drive, and I'm just proud to be part of the team.
Well done.
Thank you.
Dave?
Vince, a top 5 run for Matt Kenseth. The chase is a week away. How strong do you feel the 17 team is, Matt?
I think the team's in good shape. We've been having great days on pit road. Pretty good adjustments. Made something out of. I don't want to say nothing, but we didn't have a great car, and Jimmy and them guys did a great job on pit road strategy and adjustments that got us to top 5. So we've had a couple decent weeks. Can't wait to go to Chicago and race them there. We definitely know we need to win some races to have a shot at this thing. So hopefully we can have a shot next week.
Matt will be making his 8th chase appearance. Alan?
All right, David, thank you. So there you go, the 12 drivers that will compete in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at those 10 racetracks in the upcoming 10 weeks. Hope you'll join us at the track. We saw some great racing over these summer months, and we'll see some great racing in the chase, and love to have you with us. NASCAR.com/tickets or the number at the bottom of the screen. Final thought on what you saw tonight here in Richmond.
Sure, well, overwhelming, but man, just some great things happening. You have to feel for Kyle Busch and that race team. Just unfortunate. Everybody can't be in it, but we saw some great things happen. Looking forward to this chase.
We knew it was going to be a big night for somebody, and it really turned out to be a huge night for Jeff Gordon and his team. What a good performance.
So it's on to Chicagoland next weekend. The NASCAR Nationwide Series, Saturday at 3 Eastern on ESPN. And the Geico 400 to start the chase, 1 Eastern next Sunday on ESPN. Clint Boyer wins tonight at Richmond. Jeff Gordon races his way into the chase along with Casey Kane. Thanks for hanging in there with us through all the rain.